Notice of this meeting was given in accordance with the Open Publics Meetings Act by the Township Clerk to at least 2 newspapers in January, and this notice has been posted on the Township Bulletin Board and on the Township website. Again, if there are any disability requirements, please notify the clerk prior to coming so we can make a schedule for you. If we can stand, please salute the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have a roll call, please.
Councilman Calamari?
Here.
Councilman Casio?
Here.
Councilman Sears?
Here.
Councilman Ullman?
Here.
Council President Bruno?
Here. Okay, we'll have a reading of the total list of bills first.
Following is a list of bills paid June 1st, 2017 through June 14th, 2017. Total 2016 reserve, $51,839.34. 2017 current, $3,386,408.98. Capital fund, $55,881.07. Animal control, $112.80. Trust fund, $64,753.20.
Thank you. Any questions, gentlemen? We'll have approval of the minutes, April 3rd, 2017, public session minutes, April 3rd, 2017, conference minutes, meeting minutes, April 10th, 2017, public session minutes, April 10th, 2017, conference meeting minutes, March 15th, 2017, closed session minutes, March 21st, 2017, closed session minutes, March 21st, 2017, closed session minutes. Did we have 2 on that? I guess, there's 2 dates? Or is that,
No, I think
okay.
that was my typo,
Okay.
sorry.
March 23rd, 2017, closed session minutes, March 27th, 2017, closed session minutes, March 28th, closed session minutes, May 8th, 2017, closed session minutes, May 22nd, 2017, closed session minutes, June 12th, 2017, closed session minutes, June 26th, 2017, closed session minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Calamari?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President Bruno?
Yes, you have a question, Mike?
I just want to clarify, there is only one closed session for the 21st?
Yeah, I was looking to see, I thought there was the 25th. Give me 1 second, I just did one motion.
No, I have it in front of me, yeah.
21, 23, 27, 28, May 8th, May 22nd, June 12th, and June 26th, yes. My apologies.
Okay, so we take that out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on. May I have a report of the Madam Mayor, please?
Oh, thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to start with a blood drive in honor of Grace and Alex. Please consider donating blood on Thursday, July 20, from 2 to 8 p.m. to help children like Grace Gutches and Alex Hammer of the Township. It is being sponsored by the Knights of Columbus, 79 Pascack Road, Township of Washington. You can register if you'd like to, or just walk in. You can check the Township website for other information. Okay, DMF. Members of the road department are focusing on household and garden debris, fields, catch basins, vehicle maintenance, and repair. In addition, the department began the curb, line, and line-of-sight trimmings on roadways and signs hidden by low-hanging branches. Brush around the commuter lot was cut back. Also, the DMF are working on 2 abandoned houses and keeping accurate records of what they're doing there. During the July 7th storm, debris washed downhill, filling catch basins at Edison and Hoover, and DMF were able to clear them and vacuum them out. White goods collection was done on June 14. If you have any white goods that you need picked up, the next one is July 19, 2 days away, but please call up and make an appointment. Our sanitation trucks were serviced on June 15, including new air filters. Hydraulic lines on all vehicles were checked, and also on the John Deere loader. All vehicles, including police, were serviced with fluids being changed, tires rotated, and new filters. Memorial Field was aerated, seeded, and fertilized this past Saturday by an outside service. Based on some emergent circumstances, I've authorized the seasonal employees to work 35 hours during the week of household debris and garden debris, which comes together that time. Access improvements for Memorial Field. The Bergen County Open Space Matching Grant that we received for replacing the existing sidewalks and installation of handicap ramps along that sidewalk on corners at Memorial Field will begin July 31 or August 1 or very soon thereafter. It is approximately a 3-day job. All the details of construction hours, certificate of insurance, police and all that were worked out at our pre-construction meeting on Friday, July 14th. However, while we were there, I thought that it would be good if we can do the ramp on the end of Memorial Field on the other side by Ridgewood Boulevard East. And this afternoon, we got a price of $4,500, which would mean the town would have to put in $2,250. So we have something on the agenda for the council to make a decision on that. I would hope that we could add it now while we have a matching grant, because we have to put the ramps in anyway. Road Program 2017, we had a pre-construction meeting also on Friday to work out the details. The road resurfacing project will start on or about August 14 and will hopefully end just before school, although the streets near the schools will be paved first. The construction hours, as usual, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. weekdays. The company who received the contract for the $747,000 project is Mike Fitzpatrick Equipment Company of Oak Ridge, New Jersey. And also Beechwood Drive in Edison is now included. We met the paving and milling supervisor, Gary Bosak, the other day, and I feel pretty confident that that company will be doing a good job. The administrator, Chief Hooper, Captain Hackbarth, Engineer Satile, and I discussed various parameters for the construction. The roads included are Mountain Avenue, which we got a grant for, Walnut, Ridgewood to Palm, Manhattan from Pascack to West Place, Hickory, Washington to Hillsdale, Beach from Washington to Hillsdale, Colonial Boulevard, Ridgewood to Lincoln, Monroe, Cleveland to Willow, Chestnut, Washington to Hillsdale, Clinton Avenue, and then Beechwood and Edison. Please be aware of rough road conditions and raised manhole covers during the milling phase. Residents will be allowed to have egress and access to their homes. However, there may be minor delays. You'll receive a lot of notice from vendor and from the town when we're ready to begin. YJCC. By now, you probably all know that Bethany Church purchased the YJCC. I want to thank Council Representative Cassio because he and I were the committee who had spent time meeting potential buyers. It was a long way because at the beginning there was like not too many, then we got a few. And finally, the Bethany Church did purchase the Y. Council President Bruno and I met with Pastor John James right after the closing in order to discuss things that the town would be able to partner with him. Tax bills. I know you're all waiting for your tax bill. We hope to get you them as soon as possible, but there's two glitches. The government shutdown and the amended school budgets for the towns. What happened is the state issued new school aid figures to the towns for the budgets. But what happens is the towns have to redo their budget now with the new school aid figure and send it back to the state. So it's taking a long time. Usually taxes are due August 1. So as soon as we get everything together, you will have 25 days from the day we mail them to pay them. We can't even get the rate. If we had the rate, we'd be able to tell you what it is, but we can't. If a town sends out estimated bills, if you hear of that, we're not sending out any estimated bills because it costs a lot of money, plus the minute you send them out, then the real thing comes, and you gotta send out another one. And it's a lot of, people get very confused. So at any rate, we're working on it. We hope that the state gets, and the county gets their act together and gives it to us. And we don't have to worry about, we don't have a cash flow problem, so we'll wait till the real bills come. Shredding and e-recycling. The next shredding and e-recycling will be on Saturday, October 21, from 9 a.m. to noon. Please jot this down. This is your chance to get everything together and also to e-recycle. Now, for the month of June, you recycled 53 tons of paper and approximately 53 tons of commingled. Since we no longer get any revenue from the commingled and actually pay a tipping fee of $3.98 per ton to have it removed, the last couple of months we got less revenue. This month we only got like $2,700. We normally get like in between $3,000 and $4,000. However, we have an opportunity to do something good. The fiber markets have increased $15 a ton for July. So it'll go from $60 to $75 that we would get back. So since we still have a few days left in July and a few more pickups, please recycle as much paper as you can the rest of July. Softball champions. The Township girls, the 10U travel softball team, made history by being the first travel Little League team to win the District 4 championship. It's a great accomplishment, and I'm very proud of them, their coaches, and Dave Agar, their team manager. I also thank the Baseball Softball Executive Board for making it possible for the girls to have this opportunity. DEP waste management permit. It's good news. Since 2016, Mayor Frank and I wrote letters and asked our communities to oppose the renewal of the waste management permit, even though a draft permit had been completed and the hearing did proceed. I recently received a letter from the DEP regarding the permit for the Hillsdale Transfer Station and was thrilled to read that the DEP actually did not issue the permit, and they actually asked the county to comment specifically on certain issues. And they include adequacy of the current truck routes to and from the facility, which really hurts us, environmental issues, and the need for the continued inclusion of that facility in the county plan. So I want to thank all of you out there for your support, because I know you signed all the petitions for me and sent letters. Repairs. A lot of time and effort have been spent on repairs recently, getting prices, comparing and overseeing jobs, such as Clarkfield. We had a lot of plumbing issues and tree removal by the DMF and outside vendors. We had some water main leaks at various places being coordinated with Suez. Our DMF used a shared sewer jet to inspect and flush problem areas in the sewer, June and July. A lot of catch basin repair, 6 tons of blacktop for pothole repairs the week of June 12. And also Advanced Electrical did a lot of repairs on the police department, exhaust fan and so forth. The intersection. In discussions with Police Chief Hooper and Traffic Officer Hackbarth, we talked about trying to officially delineate a second line from Meissen through to Burke. It's about 380 feet, to perhaps try to alleviate some of the congestion there. Captain Hackbarth spoke to the officials at the county, submitted measurements to the county to accommodate 2 lines. And so far at this point, they're pretty sure we can do that. And the Bergen County engineer, and they're coming up here to take another measurement just to make sure. And so at this point, then hopefully we're waiting for them to okay us to do this. If that happens, they will scrape off the yellow lines, push them a little bit north so that we can accommodate 2 lines, 2 legal double lines there before we install EnduraBlend. So we're going to have to put off installing that until this might work. If you have an opinion on whether you think it might be helpful, let us know before we move forward on it. But it is something that we think might help. Ambulance Corps, from January 1 to now, June 30, well, from January to June, they were dispatched 253 times and 46 in June alone. And they work really hard, and if you can help them out in any way by becoming a member, please do so. Fire Department, from January 1 to June 30, 2017, they were dispatched 97 times and 19 in June alone. It was a great day. They had their annual antique custom car, truck, and motorcycle show in June, and they had a record number of vehicles there, and it really was a nice day. Okay, a new thing. The fire department is hosting a concert by the B Street Band, Echoes of Bruce Springsteen, which is being sponsored by Oritani Bank, who are always willing to help the township. If you can, please plan to attend this event on August 25 at Memorial Field. The band will start at 7:30 and it is free. Food Town will be having a food court at the field in case you want to get supper. Bring your own chair or blanket. Police Department. This year, the Regional Junior Police Academy, including Hillsdale, Westwood, and Township, had 110 cadets enrolled. The children participated in many activities, presentations, demonstrations, and I'll tell you, the parents were very, very happy with the program. Lieutenant Skinner originated this program 17 years ago, and he and his staff continue to make an excellent experience for the children. Captain Hackbarth reminds you that we will be participating in the 2017 Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over Labor Day crackdown, which will go the last 2 weeks of August through the first week in September. And that's part of our national and state effort to help raise the awareness of the dangers of drinking and driving. Also, Chief Hooper would like you to please call if you see any suspicious activity, and it's never a waste of time, and he hopes that your eyes and ears can prevent a crime. Additional mandated training for 2017. In May, the Attorney General's office has mandated that every police officer have the following training in addition to the ones we already have. That's active shooter, an additional 16 hours per officer, and mental health training, mandatory 5 hours per officer by December 31, 2017. Administration, Administrator Grove has been very busy with problems arising, especially in terms of quotes, bids, state contracts, which are getting very complicated, and pricing policies. She also helped with the planning of the summer recreation program, interfacing with the town engineer for the road program, and implementing many grant-funded programs such as the Memorial Field access improvements. She also has helped to troubleshoot problems such as Suez Water on Amherst and Pascack. The administrator is training a new employee who is learning payroll and purchasing. Our court administrator, Linda Lucini, who is our new one, is being trained also, and she is training our new part-time violations clerk, Michael Kovalars. Fair Share Housing, COA, I have a statement to make about Fair Share Housing. As you know, the New Jersey Supreme Court mandated that all municipalities must address affordable housing obligations. The mayor and council began a declaratory judgment action, which is established procedure to address the affordable housing obligation through the courts. We hired a well-known expert who had been affiliated with COA and who helped us minimize the affordable housing impact on the township. We also acted with approximately 250 other municipalities to join forces in order to fight the large number of units that the Fair Share Housing wants to impose on the township. After extensive litigation and negotiations, the township entered into a settlement with Fair Share Housing, establishing our obligations and implementing certain minimal planning devices to satisfy the court-required affordable housing obligation. The court conducted a fairness hearing and approved our settlement, which has been reached. The township then conducted an open forum for public questions before entering the agreement. Now that the settlement agreement has been approved by the court, the township will be protected against builder remedy lawsuits, which could have resulted in large multi-development with extensive affordable housing units incorporated in them. Other towns in Bergen County have also entered into settlements seeking to do the same, such as our neighbor in Hohokus. While our legislators are talking about and continue to fight the concept, the New Jersey Supreme Court is the final authority on this issue, and it has clearly and repeatedly ruled that municipalities must provide fair share affordable housing. The township has worked hard to minimize the impact of meeting our obligations and has been successful in doing so. At the conclusion of the final steps in our settlement, we will be protected from builder lawsuits until 2025. Recreation. About 140 children are enrolled in our program and are enjoying many activities, including a visit from the Harlem Wizards last week, which went very well, by the way. The coordinator, Chris Pinto, is doing an excellent job in planning activities, and in fact, we don't take 8th graders going into 9th, but a lot of them have asked if they could be in the program. So next year, we're thinking of having a certain extension on there, put specifically only for 8th going into 9th. If you're interested in playing on Falcons football program, you can please register, and also if you're interested in cheerleading. Library. There's no need to tell you about the wonderful programs going on at the library. There's 2 specifically coming up. July 31 on Monday is Harry Potter's birthday party from 12 to 2. Drop in, have a piece of cake, take a photo as a wanted wizard. And don't forget the very popular Touch a Truck event this Thursday, July 20 from 9 to 11. There'll be truck stories and crafts. Also, I want to have a comment on the Memorial Field Committee. We meet regularly. It's kind of hard because there are people still for the turf and against the turf, or for the project and not for the project. But I think this last meeting we had went pretty well, and our engineer is trying to give us some options in terms of reducing the usage on Memorial in the meantime. So hopefully we'll do a little better in the next few months. But thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Move on to the report of the council. Dr. Cassio.
Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome everyone here tonight, coming out on a July night to watch us speak and have some fun. Let me say that jokingly. Very short report because the mayor usually covers everything in depth. I did attend the county development meeting on Wednesday, where there are funds through the county and through the Housing Administration in Washington that grants us funds for certain projects. Washington has cut back the amount of funds available to municipalities, about 40%. We were able to get some funding, which has not been approved yet by the county, but we had one project in there, and it looks like we're going to approximately get about $3,500. And it was also nice to see other towns that had very, very large-scale projects in the tens of thousands of dollars compete for monies, and it was nice to see some towns that really had a need for a project that was imperative for their town, that other towns would give their allocation for the more needed project. So it was very nice to see cooperation between different municipalities for all the residents of Bergen County and the Pascack Valley and Northern Valley cooperating. So that's my report for tonight, and let's try and keep it short. Thank you.
Was that meant for me?
Yes, Mr. Bruno. I think of everyone specifically, not just singing out
Mr.
Mr. Bruno.
Sears.
Thank you, Mr. Bruno. I would like to make a couple of quick comments about the school superintendent's comments about our parking issues. It's obvious when you read his comments in the newspaper that he does not have a clue on what's going on in these neighborhoods with the cars. It's obvious that he is so distant from this community. When he says that we did not reach out to him, I went and did some investigation, and I have copies of the mayor's letterheads on emails from 2014 asking them to work with us for grants so we can approve the front of the high school. Now, we all saw this lovely school board approves $3 million maintenance garage and high school. The school board feels that it's more important to put a hot dog stand out in front of the high school
than to put a science lab back where they removed it so they can have more space for the administration. So, let's talk about the maintenance garage. Do a little investigation, and I found out that Mr. Rosado filed a permit with the Department of Environmental Protections to build that building on wetlands. So, again, we have a school administration, a school board, totally disrespecting the citizens of Washington Township. We have no idea on how this water is going to be affected with this maintenance building, what kind of pollution is going to be drawn into this, how is it going to change the water levels and the flood systems. I asked this council and the mayor to form a letter and send it to the Department of Environmental Protection, asking them, do not have this accepted. And if it comes before the planning board or zoning board, I will be there, and I would ask the community to be there. Again, this is not something that you can just put a building up in wetlands and expect clean water for the rest of our lives. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Sears. I just want to clarify something on your last point. The letter that you would like sent, should that come from the Madam Mayor, or?
This was sent from Madam Mayor.
No, the one that you said now, that you'd like a letter sent.
Yes, I would like it from the council and the administration, a solid letter to the Department of Environmental Protection, asking them to deny this building being built on wetlands.
Okay,
That's why we have wetlands, so we can have clean water. We can control the water runoffs, not to put buildings up there with an under car wash or something when they were talking about it. Thank you.
okay. Mr. Calamari?
Thank you. Yes, in light of what everyone else had to say, just one quick thing. Shout out to B and all the fellow ambulance members for their recruitment drive that they had in the shopping center last weekend. It's a great group of people, and if you have the time and can make the commitment, they could certainly use your help, them and all the volunteer organizations in town. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Ullman?
I really have no report. I'd just like to comment that the mayor mentioned on a couple of occasions the work of the DMF. Although everyone in town hall and all the employees work very hard, there's something that resonates with me when you see it pouring rain, thunder, lightning, and there are employees on the back of a garbage truck picking up our garbage or leaves. So they work very hard. They work in conditions that, I'm glad I sit in an office in air conditioning. So just like to thank the DMF for the work that they've done, especially with the number of storms we've had recently and the amount of cleanup that they've had to undertake.
Thank you.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.
I don't have much either, because Dr. Cassio says I should move this along. But I
Should've done that
do-
months ago.
I do, he's really giving it to me. Huh? I do want to mention one thing that Madam Mayor mentioned, and I don't want it to go unnoticed, and there was a lot of hard work, I think, put in by people prior to me getting on council with the affordable housing and the COA. And I think after we've sent the information down to the county or wherever it goes to the state, I think overall, as a town, we did very well. So thanks for the efforts there. There was a lot,
It was
I
a
know,
lot,
done.
it was a lot of efforts, not only on the part of our professionals, but the fact that the council, we agreed to fund it,
Yeah, I think there was a lot done. So that's all I have. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to open to public discussion.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Calamari?
Yes.
Councilman Cassio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President Bruno?
Yes. So I'll just have to say again, Dr. Cassio says we have to move it along, so tonight you can only get 4 minutes if that's it. Anyway, would anybody like to address the council? No, we're going to move fast tonight. Okay.
That was a delayed action.
A whole minute.
Yeah, I did. I was just waiting. I thought maybe we,
No, I wasn't sleeping. I don't sleep now. Rayburn North, 838 Crest Place. Two things. It was mentioned that Bethany Church closed on the Y. So probably they're going to have their church there. Now, what will happen to the current church that they have?
the current church right now is up for sale. You know, they have some potential offers from other churches. I'm not sure if there's any businesses that are interested. And, you know, we'd have to see what's happening, but right now it's up for sale.
Okay, one more thing. As I drive around in various towns, there's always these signs that say, with pictures, that you must stop for pedestrians and a crosswalk. There are none in this town. I think there should be. Sometimes they're not in the middle of the street, they're right on the curb. They're in various positions, but every town around that I can see, I can't say everyone with definity, but as far as I can see, every town I go through has those signs. I think it's about time, in addition to being in the parking lot, I think it's that we should also have those signs where they are needed.
So that has come up several times, I know from you personally. Mr. Sears, I think, has gone through major research for these crosswalks. We've presented it to the administration and to the police. We do not have the authority as a council to put these signs up. They do. They are not in favor of putting the signs in the streets because they feel it could potentially cause an accident or become a projectile. We could ask again and see if we can keep pushing. That's the only thing I can say.
Yeah, ask again because maybe it has the potential of an accident, but also maybe it will save some pedestrian from being involved in an accident. So
Agreed.
they have to look at it that way in addition to whatever way they're looking at it.
Agree. Madam Mayor, can we ask
I'm
again?
taking notes. Well, I'll ask
I know
again,
we
but I
asked,
know.
but, you know, we'll try again.
Well, I think if every other town thinks it's important, and I can name the towns, I know Park Ridge and Woodwood, I know it's in Bergenfield, and I think it's parts of Paramus.
Paramus, Hohokus, mostly all the surrounding towns have them.
Now, if they all feel it's worthwhile, doesn't make us look good to be the only ones that don't feel it's worthwhile.
I agree. We will mention it again.
Yes, and mention that we don't want to be the only, people, the only not far-thinking people that can't come up with a way to do this.
Okay? Will do.
That's it.
Thank you.
Bob,
Yes.
I know Captain Hackworth has objections to putting up the signs that are not permanent in nature, but I think he said he didn't have as much objection if we could put up permanent signs by the crosswalk. So maybe, Madam Mayor, you could ask him about that also.
You mean putting permanent ones?
Yeah, thanks.
Mary and Osmond, 960 Adams Place. You had a closed session, and in the resolution, it said that it might be opened up to the public after the closed session. Was it open to the public?
No, the closed session was a closed session, not
Okay.
open to the public. I don't know where it says that, but
In the resolution, it said that there was a good possibility it was going to go into open session.
no.
Okay, not a problem.
I think it called it in, like a regular meeting, but that was how the
No,
notice had to go.
It said that it might go into closed session. There's certain sections, you know,
Yeah, this did not.
and that's what I read. And okay, that's what I asked. All right, and the reason I'm even bringing up, there's so much under the agenda I'd like to ask, but just not enough time. There's only two things. I won't be here, and I'd like to thank Dr. Cassio for the ordinance for the anti-nepotism policy. 10 years ago, I thought that was an excellent policy, and we never did anything with it, and I still think it's a good idea. Thank you, Dr. Cassio. I read it. I'd like to ask some questions about it, but since, you know, you're not going to have your public hearing, and I won't be here for the public hearing, I just want to say that. Also, a couple weeks ago, you talked about an ethics board, and you told us there was a Bergen County Ethics Board, but we have 70 towns in Bergen County. So if you want to bring something up to a ethics board, you know, 70 towns, you could be waiting a long time. And a lot of people don't want to do anything that they have to leave the township to do. So to have a board may not be a bad idea. Council President, you suggested that you don't know where you get people from. Well, ethics classes are given out, engineers, doctors, lawyers, firefighters have to take courses, nurses. A lot of people have ethic courses behind them that they've worked with. So I think there'd be a lot of people who could be qualified for a board like that and may want to, you know, deal with that. I know as a clerk, I've had to take many years of ethics courses. Lawyers constantly take ethics courses. This is very important. And we have enough of those in town, firefighters and many other different positions that maybe, it may not be a bad idea to look into the future. I think it's something that is really needed, just very much like the nepotism is in this town. Thank you.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
my only concern was, and I know when Mr. Paula mentioned it also, I just don't, I didn't think we were ready to establish an ethics boards because I, quite frankly, wasn't sure if we had the tools behind what we needed to do it. And again, I think it needed a lot more research than just starting to pick people from the residents and saying, you're on the ethics board, because I think there's training involved, there's education
Yeah, I
involved.
agree.
And I honestly did not know enough about it to
Okay,
start a
but-
board without having the right
You really look
people.
into it? I
Yeah,
think it
we
is something
have
that
it
would be
down.
good.
I know Dr.
And as I said,
Cassio
with it being in
mentioned
the county, I tried to look on the websites and such, and there's 70 towns.
Mhm.
So 70 towns is a lot of towns to be bringing issues.
Mhm.
And, you know, I looked at, I think there's only 3 from one party, 3 from another party, there's 6 members, blah, blah, blah. But if you really, one other thing that I have to say, this room, all these months, it's been sitting here. It took months upon months to fix the walls. Shouldn't they be painted
I
finally?
have it on the agenda tonight.
It's,
I know, I believe we picked the paint color.
I mean,
So
It's up to Janet.
I'll
Janet was
come and
picking the
paint
pink
it.
color.
Did we
I
pick
will
a paint
charge you,
color?
my husband will paint the entire
I
thing
haven't-
for
I
nothing.
didn't get to it. I mean, I forgot about it.
Okay,
It's
all right,
ridiculous.
okay.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Tony Plantamura, 808 Robinwood Road. I just wanted to comment that I do see that there's an introduction on a first reading of the ordinance establishing anti-nepotism. I don't see how that's going to work in this town since there's a lot of nepotism. So I don't know what you're going to accomplish because it already exists in this town. Are you going to fire the people that are related to each other here in this town? I don't understand what the introduction's going to accomplish when this town has a lot of nepotism. So I'd just like to comment on that because I'm interested in hearing what that's going to encompass when you discuss this. The other thing is, I said it the last time, I'm going to say it again. This committee for the memorial field, to me, is kind of like a joke. I'm probably not going to come anymore. I've missed the last 2 meetings due to me working. I work so many jobs. That's nobody's fault but mine, and I don't feel that I can contribute much because I feel that there are 4 or 5 people on this committee who are constantly pushing for artificial turf, and I feel the people in town should know that their voices that were heard in the November election are not being clearly understood by this committee with certain people on the committee because they are not respecting the outcome of the voter referendum, and they are arrogantly pushing for artificial turf. And Ms. Mayor, I asked you before, I do not feel that Mr. Statiel should be coming to these meetings because I do not feel that we should pay for this man to come to this committee when he presents artificial turf, and we are not supposed to be discussing artificial turf. I would like to get paid if he's getting paid because my time is precious, just like Mr. Statiel. So I don't want Mr. Statiel to get paid.
He's not pushing artificial.
Okay,
turf.
well, he should not be paid, I feel, as the borough engineer.
Tony, I agree with you. I think.
Okay, then don't bring him
Right,
anymore.
People spoke loud and clear at the referendum. I agree with you. We're trying to move.
Well,
into
they
a
are
direction.
not. Do you want me to give the names of the people who are
No,
pushing?
I don't think, so, just so we go.
Well, I think it's important
No,
that the people
I
know.
understand, you made your point, I hear it, and I also was on the committee, and I don't disagree with what you're saying.
I know you don't.
So
I just
it's,
don't understand where the committee's going when we're going around in
I
circles
think
and
it's
they're
a- I
pushing
think it-
artificial turf still.
It's an issue.
It's like no
I agree.
respect for the people in this town. And just to comment on how frustrating it is, but everybody else feels like it, the road conditions in these municipalities are absolutely a nightmare. I went out of my house today to drive. There's detours in Washington Township. There's detours all over in Westwood. There's a major road project in Emerson, which everybody knows about, that's been going on for a year. My quality of life and everybody else's, I feel, is so compromised. I do not enjoy this area as much as I used to. And this affordable housing thing that's been pushed by the Supreme Court, I feel is going to decimate the hometown character that we are accustomed to in this state. I feel it's social engineering. I've said it several times. I want to make that point every time I come. We're the most densely populated state in the country, and this to me is just pushing more and more stuff into this state that is not necessary, and I feel there's a mass exodus that is going to occur. It's already occurring. There's more people moving out of the state that are moving into the state, so this is a whole facade here of how many units that they plan on building. I heard there's over 1 million units that are going to supposedly be being built by this building remedy.
Eventually in the state. Mhm.
Well, why do we need 1 million more? Who's going to live here? Where are we going to go? How are we going to get around? I think all of our taxes should be lowered because our quality of life is really being infringed upon, and I'm just so frustrated driving around here now. It's really unbelievable. And what Mr. Ray said about the crosswalk, the cross signs, I agree that every town has them, and I don't understand what's so precious about our town that we can't have them. I just don't understand it. I'll donate 1 or 2 of them out of my business. I'll buy them and put them in front of Memorial Field.
I would love you to do that, but I just don't think, again, it's, the authority is not on our.
We'll tell the authorities to chop on that, okay?
We will.
I thought they all cared about our kids. They're not doing such a good job.
We'll let them know.
Bob,
Yes.
Tony, can you enlighten us on the council where the nepotism is running wild in town?
I think you know the answer to that.
I don't.
Well, I do, and I don't feel it's appropriate, because I was told last meeting that it wasn't appropriate to comment on that in this meeting, in this forum.
My brother works for the town and has worked for them for over 20 years. I've been on the council 3.5 years. You looked at me with a huge smile, and you know you did.
And
Let's not play
you're
I
games.
don't know if,
You also
I know
support the artificial
the
turf.
last time you didn't want to get into the family
But it
stuff.
came
So
up again.
No,
But I didn't mention that.
I'm just saying, you had mentioned it last time, Peter, so I'm
Okay.
just saying.
Well, for the record, then, I'm saying my brother has worked for the town for over 20 years. I have been on the council for 3.5 years. That's the extent of my relatives that work in the town.
What about
Okay.
your dad?
Okay, forget it,
My
forget
dad
it.
does not work for the town,
Thank you.
does not receive any compensation.
Anybody else like to address? Peter, I don't mean to cut you off, Peter. Peter?
Excuse me, Tony?
Peter?
You get paid like the coaches did in this town.
All
My
right,
dad does not get paid 1 cent,
I didn't say you did.
Peter,
and he's an elected official in another capacity.
Peter. I just don't want it to escalate into ugliness. I don't want it to get into anything, because I know it's gonna get upsetting, so I don't want it.
Not for me, it's not.
Okay, is there anybody else? I see no hands. So a motion to close
So moved.
public
Second.
discussion?
Councilman Calamari?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President Bruno?
Yes. Okay, so we're moving into introduction, first reading, ordinance 1707, an ordinance establishing a Township of Washington anti-nepotism policy. Motion, does anybody have any questions, first of all? Motion to introduce and pass ordinance 1707 at first reading by title.
So moved.
I'll second.
Councilman Calamari?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Councilman President Bruno?
Yes. Resolution 17-247, authorizing publication of ordinance 17-07 and schedule public hearing. Motion for public
So
hearing?
moved.
Second.
Councilman Calamari?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President Bruno?
Yes. Anybody would like to address?
Not this time.
No.
First reading.
Oh, why they have it to the public?
No,
No.
Oh, no?
that's not.
All right.
Hearing.
Okay. Oh, I'll schedule a public hearing, sorry. Thanks. Okay, sorry, folks. Ordinance 1708, or an ordinance amending the firehouse lot regulations. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance number 1708, first reading by title.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Calamari?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President Bruno?
Yes. Resolution number 17-248, authorizing publication of ordinance number 17-08, scheduled public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Calamari?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President Bruno?
Yes. All the following items have been determined to have unanimous consent of the council will be enacted in one motion. Should any item require independent consideration, any council member may have such item removed from the consent agenda. Resolution 17-249, certification of annual audit. Resolution 17-250, resolution supporting Complete Streets Initiative. Resolution 17-251, authorizing contract for purchase of InfoCop e-ticket. Resolution 17-252, LSRP services for Township of Washington. Resolution 17-253, authorizing the issuance not exceeding $4,770,579 bond anticipation notes, bonds. Resolution 17-254, authorizing refund recreation summer camp fees. COLAC, $275. Resolution 17-255, authorizing refund recreation summer camp fees, June, $230. Anybody have any questions on these? Can I have some?
Alexa, 17-251, we move for a separate vote.
Okay, hold on a minute, I'm sorry. I have an amended one, I was reading. No, in addition to that, there was 17-257, authorizing change order for additional work, D&L paving contractors for sidewalks. Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Sears, you said,
17-251.
okay, you want to pull it off?
I want a separate vote on it, please.
So you want to pull it off for now?
No, we can just,
I mean, you don't want it in the total consent?
no, I just want a separate, we can pass the other ones and then vote on this one individually.
That's what he wants.
Okay. Is there an issue, just so I understand?
I'll talk to you.
Okay. Okay, so we'll pull that one off for now.
Just a question on 17252, the LSRP. So, how long is the contract for? Is it 1 year? Or is it a contract with a term, or is it to do a scope of work?
The scope of work.
And how long do we think that'll take? And does that take the contamination or the monitoring to the end of its life?
No.
So what would be the next iteration of this?
Well, when they do their monitoring, then they'll give us a report, and we'll see what's next.
And has this been this has been monitored previously? This has been an ongoing monitoring that elapsed? or
Yeah, and
lapsed?
they're the ones who have done it in the past, and they have all the information.
And
And
the
they're-
wells are on site.
And, okay. Do we know when this scope of work is to be completed?
As soon as we get it okayed.
No, how long?
How long will it take before we
I
have
don't-
I don't know that.
results?
I don't know. Hopefully very soon, but fortunately, they know it, and they have all our information.
I mean, I have the overview with,
It's in there. It's in,
I didn't see it.
yeah.
Do you want to borrow my copy?
No, that's all right. So that's okay, Bob, I just had those questions.
Yeah, I'm hoping, obviously, as soon as we get this done, that we first get them on board, and then I think it's, all hands on deck. I would imagine, based upon what they've quoted and what I've read, it would probably take a couple of months. I don't know much about, this type work, but it seems like there's an awful lot that needs to
I
be
think about
thought
4
out.
to 6 months, Paul.
Yeah, so maybe even sooner, but I think we have to do it.
Okay, I would agree. And just in terms of the bans, so I agree that we should renew the bans. My question is, have we evaluated the outstanding ordinances to see if they could be canceled or the money's reused? Do we know if that's been completed?
So I think the answer to your question is no.
Okay.
And there are some bans in there that I think we need to, and I guess when we get into the audit, we have the accounting firm here. I'm not sure exactly how that gets done. We'd have to talk to Ashley, but I think there are some that need to be, I guess we just give the money back and cancel it. I'm not really sure how it works, but I think we need to do that and evaluate the ones that just we're not using and give the money back and not finance it anymore.
Because, the 4.7 is for existing bands as well as some new work. It doesn't include, the 2.6 that we had discussed and we had passed a ordinance on earlier this year for the firehouse and the DMF.
Correct.
And it doesn't include another roughly 4 million or 3.8 million in 2018 and 2019 efforts around the road program, fire trucks, telephone systems, and a second round of road. So even though we're talking about 4.7, if we do the scope of work that we envision, we'll be up to over 11 million. So, I'm comfortable doing the 4.7. I don't really think we have much of a choice, but we do need to be aware that, we have ambitious goals, and we're gonna have to pay these bills, so we are losing some of our long-term debt is rolling off, but we are gonna have short-term debt coming on.
And I think some of these bans that we just don't, we have the money but don't need, I assume, I don't know the specifics, but we can give it back and just cancel it and get out of it, so that should reduce it at the end of the day, but we'd have to see what that is.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
look at ordinance 99-7, it had a 5-year useful life, and it's been on the books for
Yeah,
18 years.
agree.
So, all right.
Anybody else, gentlemen?
Nope.
Okay, so we'll make a motion with the exception of 17-251.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Delarose?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Council President Bruno?
Yes. Okay, so we have 17-251, authorizing contract for purchase of InfoCop e-ticket. And Mr. Sears had some question or concerns, I assume?
Well-
Oh, sorry. Motion to discuss
Well,
resolution
Take a motion to pass it, take a second, and have discussion, I think.
of 17-251, you mean?
The one that was you're handling.
Okay, so we'll make a motion to pass 17-251.
So moved.
Second.
Could not have discussion.
Okay, now we can have a discussion. Mr. Sears?
Yes,
You-
Mr. President.
you-
I'm concerned that we're wasting money on this e-ticket machine. When you look at the monthly reports, how is that going to generate more tickets for the speeders in this town? How is that going to generate tickets to allow the police department to give tickets in the shopping center? These are the issues that I hear from people day in and day out. They don't like to give tickets to township people. We have speeders down Beach, speeders down Colonial, speeders down Woodfield. We got crossing the double yellow line, east and west on Washington. We got shopping center. It's constant. I mean, are we just wasting money for a machine to write a ticket when they have a book?
Could I just make a couple of comments?
Sure.
First of all, as you know, 2 people in the court retired at the end of March, and we don't have to replace the full-timers there. We have only part-timers, so this is an opportune time for us to get into this. One of the advantages of the InfoCop, and most of the towns around us have it, we did a little survey. The advantage of it is that, number one, it's done right there. It should make it easier for the police to give tickets. It will be easier because it comes right out in the car, in the computer. And secondly, because it's printed by the computer, okay, it takes many less hours of trying to read the handwritings and things like that. So it goes much smoother. Also, when an officer stops somebody and they have to get out of the car and, go to the other car, they don't have to stay in the street as long. It's much safer for everybody, for the officer and for the people driving around them. And there's quite a few advantages to having this, and I think it's a good thing for the town. Hope, if you think more, you're saying.
Well,
more
would
people-
you think
It should
having
encourage.
crosswalk signs that flash is a good thing for the town? Traffic lights that flash would be a good thing for the town? When we ask to have these placed, we get a no. You can't do it. You can't put the sticks in the street. You can't put the crosswalk. I mean,
Well, we're
let's-
getting the LED stop signs that you want. What?
one.
2, hopefully.
2?
And what about
We're
the
getting the
LED,
larger
what
one.
about the LED crossing signs by Memorial Field?
That I'd have to look at. I know we did the other ones. The LED 36-inch for Van Amberg and Washington.
May I ask, are we considering, with this ordinance, to change our fee structure, or do we have that option? Are they set by,
I think they're set.
they're set by the state, the county, or, so we can't increase it, a servicing fee to do, would we be able to? So there's a $4
Oh, no,
charge.
Michael,
No,
that
no,
was,
no.
there's a revised
We
resolution.
don't have to pay for that.
There was a revised resolution, that was an alternative plan. The chief didn't understand the proposal fully at the time. That is if you lease the system as opposed to acquiring it.
Okay, so it's,
And we spend quite a bit of money on ticket books.
so the
And
revised.
even when you don't use the ticket books, you have to turn them in after a certain time. So at least here, when the ticket gets made, it gets used.
Okay. And is the purchase price, is there a maintenance contract over and above this?
No.
No.
Okay, I mean, Tom, I understand your comments. I
Right.
do think that, you know, the police walk a fine line between overly intrusive enforcement or aggressive enforcement, especially when it comes to residents. I know prior to my time as a councilman, I'll be clear, you know, I've been pulled over for having, you know, document issues or whatever, and, you know, they see that you're from the township, and they make sure you get home and tell you to get things straightened out. So I do think that they use their discretion. If it makes it easier for them, and, you know, I don't have a personal challenge with it, you know, and we'll vote and see how it turns out.
Okay, so,
That's assuming you don't become a repeat
so we
offender.
take, we did the first motion, we take a vote on it?
Councilman Calamari?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
No.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President Bruno?
Yes. Okay. Let me see where we are. Let me see. Okay, so I believe we're finished with the resolutions. Make a motion to adjourn to conference agenda.
Motion. Second.
Councilman Calamari?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President Bruno?
Yes. Okay, so what I'd like to do, we have Lou May Associates here who finalized the audit. So I just, if we can move any questions anybody might have or concerns or anything they'd like to discuss regarding the audit, feel free. They're in the back. Thank you for coming, first of all. Anybody have any issues?
Will, take a-
You need to come up? Sorry. Front and center, please. I guess just your name and address, please. Name and address.
Louis May, Louis C. May, CPA and Associates, Post Office Box 624, Compton Plains, New Jersey.
You probably have to move the microphone close to you, too. Colleen, name and address?
Same address.
Same, okay. All right. Mr. Sears, anything?
Yeah, Mr. Mack, has any of this process been contracted out outside of your business?
No,
So it was all internally within your business?
except for the printing.
Yeah. Which is good. Can you please explain to me, and just give me the payroll checking account balance, that's item number 14.
Tom, you on a
Seven-
page? You on a page?
Oh, that's
number?
page 100.
Thank you.
That's the recommendations. Oh, wait.
Yeah, go ahead. I know.
Okay. The account balance of $7,724 should be reduced to zero balance. Can you explain to me, how does that get reduced, and where did you find this money at?
Yes, Councilman, the payroll account should be a zero balance account under normal circumstances. It's a net payroll account. So when you do a bank reconciliation, which is done internally, it reconciled down to an overage of $7,724. So I am making an assumption everybody got paid and cashed their checks. So that amount of money that's in there was over deposited over a period of time, not just this year, but over a period of time. And so, to the best of my knowledge, you only need to transfer that money out of that account back to the current fund.
Wasn't it actually all before this year?
Well, that's what I said.
No, you said not just this year, so it was
Right,
all
right.
before this 2016.
It was all before 2000.
Okay, I just wanted, because it does have some impact there. The current employees were not really involved in
No.
that. Okay.
No.
Item number 8, the Recreation Department should not be accepting credit cards. Have you found them accepting credit cards?
Yes.
You have. Do we have a credit card scanner
No, this is over the phone.
over the phone?
It's already been rectified, as I understand.
So how would they have processed it? Just maybe not as part of the scope of your work, but if someone wanted to pay $100, they would phone in, and how would Recreation process that over the phone?
Oh, I don't know, they know, I didn't know anything about it. They apparently were,
The Recreation Department uses Community Pass, so basically your residents would go online and register with Community Pass and pay with their own credit card on their own computer or a library's computer, and then process it that way.
Okay.
Or come in and give a physical check to the Recreation Department.
but these were instances where I guess the resident didn't have the time or inclination to do it themselves.
So would a employee then go on to Community Pass and process it on their behalf?
It's already processed via Community Pass. A third party processes the credit.
Yeah, but no, but
No,
they
with the
entered.
issue.
Yeah, they enter in.
They entered it in.
Into
their-
Community Pass.
Yes.
That's where the issue lies.
Okay.
And were those, do you know if they shredded those? I mean,
No, the employee admitted to accepting credit card payments over the phone.
And I
No,
think,
no, but did they keep the information?
No, she did
Yeah.
not keep the information. She typed it in right there.
and I think the concern was, just so you know, that it puts the employee in a difficult position where if something happened,
Of
that they could be
course.
accused of wrongdoing.
I mean, I
Yeah.
deal with that all the time in my current role. Okay.
I think it also puts the town in jeopardy, because when you start taking credit cards in any company, and if you don't have the proper, I forget the acronyms, PMI or PCIs or whatever it is, that protect credit card numbers, that's a serious issue. I don't know if we have that or not here. I would tend we don't. Like
Well, no,
in the
if we
retail
don't.
business, when you're in
No,
retail
in-
and you take credit cards, you have to have a certain security before you take any credit cards
Well,
over the
if-
phone.
All the community, it's all processed through Community Pass, so the protections are all in the Community Pass system. This is an issue of somebody going the extra mile for a resident, where, when this stops, there's gonna be residents that complain, why can't I call in? But it's just to protect the employee and the town.
Okay.
Or maybe that person
And the
couldn't
And
couldn't
the
work the
resident.
Community Pass
I
for
mean-
some reason.
Well, if they can't, then unfortunately they have
No,
to.
I'm just saying, they called up, I guess, you know.
I mean, it's great we want to go the extra yard, but we're opening up the town, the employee, and we're introducing risk to the residents.
Well, I'm just saying that's might have happened, I'm not endorsing it.
Tom?
Yes, on the municipal court, number 18, can you please explain, the bank is charging service charges or to be reimbursed for the covering fund? What does that mean?
Since you switched most of your bank accounts to another bank, the bank that was providing the services for the court started charging fees, and I think they've gone back they may have been back for a couple of years even.
Wow.
Okay.
And normally, they would just roll that in saying, you're a good customer, that works, right? So, but in this case, they didn't do it, and the previous bank is not gonna reimburse you. And so you still owe that money to the county, the state, or to any other individual, or whatever it is that's supposed to receive that money.
Right.
So the current fund has to write a check mean, your operating fund has to write a check to the court to make them whole.
Okay.
Do you know what that balance is?
I don't remember how much, it was,
Not off the top of my head, I do not.
I don't remember, it wasn't a tremendous amount of money.
Okay.
I'm good.
Peter?
Just a general comment about the audit itself. On page 99, you have status of prior year comments. Recommendations number 1 and 4 of 2015 were resolved. The remaining recommendations are repeated below. Any one taken by itself is not a big thing, but to have so many repeated to me is a bit of a red flag. I'm going to assume, and administration or mayor can correct me, maybe it's because we were short-staffed during the process. Right now, with our current staffing, would we expect to clean a lot of these up for next year?
Just looking at them, the ones that are asterisked, they are primarily finance, the finance department. Actually, in fact, 2, 3, and 4. And with our new CFO, I am confident that they will be addressed. The one about the purchase orders, I was upset to see that because I had directed the prior purchasing assistant to go through and purge all purchase orders. She was a little resistant to do it because she had been told in the past not to do it. But I gave her instructions to do it, and as I understand it, there was one in particular that was the reason it resulted in this comment. It was a significant amount of money to set aside money for the police contract retroactive payments, which hadn't been done. Not knowing they were going to be looking at this, when I took over that chair after the employee left, one of the first things I did was go through purchase orders and found the one and canceled it, and it was like January 17th or something. So I was it's too bad it ended up in here, because you were allowed to do things in 2017 to adjust your 2016 books.
Right.
So I would have hoped, and I think that it's not gonna happen, because I know personally, I go through on a periodic basis and purge
Well, like I
purchase
said,
orders.
any one line item, but do you think we can get through a lot of these? Like you said, some have already been corrected, but would you see it being repeat items again next year?
Well, I can't speak now, as you already know, the thing is that we have to develop a corrective action plan, and last year, the former CFO and myself developed a corrective action plan, and we did address a number of the items, and like I said, I thought we had addressed this purchase order one. I fixed the fixed asset ledgers and some of the other things. So these, I think, are definitely doable. Many of the comments here have to do with, they're really related to the way we handle our cash and our bank reconciliations. I will tell you that number 12 with the federal form I-9, that I wish it had been worded a little bit differently, because every single employee that I have hired has had an I-9 processed. And in fact, when I was told by the auditors that's something they looked into, I also did it for the employees who were hired before I was there. So everyone that I've hired, I was aware of this, has been handled properly. It's misleading when you read it, not that they tried to mislead anybody, but to you, just so you know that, a lot of these have already been corrected. The administrator or CFO review of payrolls, that's changed again with the new person being hired, and my getting more involved with the process. I recognize that right away, and that's already been corrected. Many of these have already been fixed.
Yeah, okay, good. So I'm happy to hear we're headed in the right direction with them, and thanks for taking care of them. That's my only comment.
There is one item number 11, that we're going to have to fix somehow with adjusting our budget, because that's going to happen again this year. That's the way that the hourly rate for Mr. Pollard's services is paid. It had historically been paid salary out of salary and wages, and the other as an other expense of the department, and that can't happen, as I understand from Mr. May's office. So the current budget, though, was adopted with that same methodology. So we're going to either have that repeat comment, or we have to figure out a way to file paperwork with Trenton to recharacterize that line.
Also, number 7, I think we have to figure out a different name for that program.
Well, I have a question there. So that's employee paid by voucher for clothing allowance and other services should be paid through payroll. So are these individuals being reimbursed and they're not being taxed?
Fire department.
No, it's not a reimbursement. It is clothing allowance, which
Okay.
is not a reimbursement. It's
It's kind of like a fringe benefit.
It's an allowance, and then it's up to the employee to
Show,
justify
yeah,
that
show
on their.
receipts.
And I will tell you that last year I was made aware of this, and I tried to correct it personally, and I was told, just get it done.
So how should it be made? It should be part of their
No,
compensation?
on their W-2 comes as other compensation. It doesn't go in their W-2 line item.
Okay.
And then that allows them to, in their tax return preparation, to come up with expenses to offset that.
Okay.
And the way, Michael, just so you understand, there are a number of employees, people who get paid wages through the payroll system. It's those employees who have to be paid through the payroll. As I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's still okay for the other ones to be paid by voucher, is that right?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so it's only there are a number of police officers who are also serve on the fire department and other employees, that though it will be those employees, some of the DMF workers are, so things like that. So we know what to do going forward. It's not a huge amount of work, it's just processing it differently.
So, just, Peter, will you finish?
Yes, I'm done, yes.
So, when we look at item number 2, this was a big issue in the prior audits. Reconciliations of sub-ledgers to general ledgers should occur on a regular basis. And we had a corrective action plan, and we had a CFO who I believe indicated that these things were being carried out. So in your work, did you see that these have been brought forward, or how far behind are we? Because my concern is, and I know we joke around that we want these meetings to end, but I think that was an item on our conference agenda, the status of the audit, corrective action plan, and we let it fall off, and shame on us, but we're back here again a year later talking about reconciliations. It's fundamental.
Yes, it's fundamental that you have reconciliations and should be done. Now, it's also, will be better hopefully this year. I've dealt with your current CFO, and she seems pretty much on top of the subject matter, and I think she will take, I think that there's a whole lot of this, I think, that is related to the fact that you had a lot of vacancies. And, especially, I don't know what the court was like before, but there's a bunch of things like the court, for instance. When Colleen would make appointments to meet with the new court clerk, she said, I don't know how they did it. So I think your new hires seem to be, people are gonna take care of that. But to answer specifically, for this year, when we came in to do the audit, for instance, the budget that you adopted wasn't implemented in full in the audit, in the budget subsidiary ledger. And then there were there's a chapter 159 that wasn't entered into there. That's one aspect.
Wait, you're pointing to me, that wasn't my responsibility.
No.
I just want them to know it wasn't me.
No, I'm saying the importance of these kind of comments is to make this year better.
Exactly.
It's not to say shame on you, it's to make this year better so that we don't have the same things. And I think a lot of this is gonna be taken care of. As we talked about, some of these things were done subsequent to December, and some were in process of perhaps being done. So, between the administrator, I think, and your new CFO, I think you will see a lot of this gone. But I know the other firm that was hired to do the December 31st close proved most of this stuff. They didn't do the one budget item, but they proved taxes in the general ledger to the subsidiary ledger.
Okay.
So it was done, but not by your employees, which is what's supposed to really happen.
So if I understood that comment then, we played a professional firm and they did the reconciliations?
Mhm.
Is that the scope of the work that we envision for them?
I
And
guess
is
that's,
that, are we paying?
I guess that's how they had done it, and.
But is that what their contract, is that what the agreement was? Or we didn't do one because we tried to keep it under 17.5?
I can't answer your question.
No,
I don't know.
you can. So what's the scope of the work? This goes back, you know, there was significant pushback on changing auditors. And I understand that. But to have a professional firm come in and do reconciliations for us, I don't understand that. I really don't.
Michael, I think it was a product of the former CFO not having the time or inclination to do it because
Well, we were
she was, no, we
I
were,
don't-
but we weren't. No,
I don't mean to cut you off, Mary Ann.
No, but if we had hired Ashley sooner, as I had requested, it may not have happened. But it was also too, I think it was, it's not gonna happen again. And I was disappointed when I found out because I had no idea that they were enabling the current system to happen, that system to perpetuate itself because
Exactly. They are enablers, they perpetuated, they were doing things they should not have been doing.
That issue has been going on for 8
Okay.
years since I've been on the council.
Okay.
It hasn't changed, it's the same stuff. We tried to change it years ago, and we hired the same firm over and over again.
Okay.
And if you go back and look at the records will reflect that the stuff was audited from 2010. That's a long time. And that's
It was-
why you
Steve,
don't
it was
have,
way
that's
before
why
that.
you do not have an audit firm doing all the work, auditing themselves. That was an issue. And now we've resolved that issue.
I have no
It's been a
further
long,
questions.
long time.
So, I have some comments. First of all, to your question, the scope of their project did not include bank reconciliations. I read the scope of their project, and there was a big blanket $7,000 number for financial services. But this has been chronic. I mean, these comments I've written about for years prior to me becoming on the council. You know, in my world, again, I know it's municipal accounting, it's private accounting, but these things they just can't happen anymore. I mean, it's become embarrassing that we don't reconcile bank accounts. First of all, I don't even think our departments should be reconciling bank accounts. I don't know why a recreation department reconciles bank accounts. I mean, you guys see more than we do, but this should be in a centralized financial accounting department where all this flows through and all these reconciliations are handled by a department. You don't have a director of recreation or a director of health or whoever these directors are reconciling bank accounts, and you got all these little accounts all over.
well, by the way,
So-
the recreation is doing theirs correct this year.
It doesn't matter if they're doing it correct or not. My point is they shouldn't be, is my point. That's my opinion. You know, again, these comments, we read them, I wrote about them, they're here again, we talk about it. I'm hoping that, yes, Ashley, our new CFO, can tackle these things. I know I sent an email. Her comment was there's plenty of room for improvement here. So let's, you know, we've been pushing for a CFO, we've been pushing for more hours, we've been pushing for these financial functions that we haven't hired, that we have to have. We just have to have. We're bonding money, we have major projects in this town that we're looking to go forward with. We have buildings that we're looking to build, knock down. And nobody can handle this unless we have a financial person in place that knows what's going on and takes care of these issues, because these issues they're procedural. A lot of them are just procedural issues that should be taken care of. We push, so let's hope that we get this done going forward. My other concern is that as I start really going through the balance sheet, and you know, your comments, I understand your comments, but when I start looking at these balance sheet items, and again, my concern is there are reserves that have been built up in this town I think some reserves are required. I don't know if these reserves are the correct amount or not. If we have an accrued vacation pay or an accrued terminal leave, I get it. But there are other reserves that should not be on the books. I don't think. I think all these reserves that are sitting there and have no purpose other than they sit there, this is cash that should come back into our surplus account, my opinion. And I will work with Mary Ann and Ashley to see how we do that, because this is cash sitting somewhere that's not being used. And I look at your balance sheet, there's two reserve amounts, one for 1.2 million, one for 1.178 million. You know, there's just pockets of these things. So besides all these issues and recommendations, which is critical in any firm, in any municipality, in any organization, we then have to clean up this balance sheet once and for all and understand what we have. So those are my comments. I appreciate your efforts. I'm hoping that Ashley will have further conversations with you folks to get this done with Madam Mayor and the administrator. Again, it's the same thing that I've been reading, and it just needs to end. So those are my comments. Anybody else?
Just, you provided us, I'm assuming that you, with a calendar?
I did.
You did. So what does that mean as it relates to the audits?
Well, on the calendar, you notice that there's like a day 30 or a day 45 and a day 60.
Yes.
Those are basically markers when certain things need to be done to complete the audit process, because it's not done with violations, so,
Okay.
you know, it just kind of keeps us on target in relation to what our council meetings are and what will have to be done.
And have you reviewed corrective action plans at this point, or you just issued the?
I haven't seen the corrective action plan yet.
Typically, we haven't run that by the auditor, we just develop it and submit it to Trenton. Typically,
Well, I always look at it the next year.
yeah.
Okay.
No, but I'm happy to share it with you, but yeah.
Oh, yo, I'm not gonna
No,
participate.
and Ashley's in tomorrow,
correction.
since the audits come in, we haven't had a chance to
I think
sit
the
down.
council would love to see it.
Of course you do, you have to approve it.
No, I know that, but I mean, I'm talking about once we see the corrective action plan, that, you know, we actually monitor the plan going
Ashley
forward.
will be in tomorrow.
All right.
Bob, just two other quick follow-up. Maybe we can ask Ashley in September or so to let us know where she is on the recommendations, to get an update as to which ones are done, which ones are being worked on, and which ones still need work. And if it's okay, I'd like to work with you and the administration and the CFO to also clean up the balance sheet.
Absolutely.
Like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's a lot on there that we have to have a better understanding.
Totally agree.
Okay, anybody else for these folks who come out in the rain?
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
all your hard work
Thank
and
you.
for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just on the record, they were very pleasant to work with,
They were
Well,
very pleasant.
as far as auditors go.
Don't expect a raise, though.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And if you read it further and you have any other questions, please don't hesitate.
We know where to find you.
Okay?
Thanks.
I have a lot of
We call
questions.
you as we get them, I know.
I only got halfway through, but I do have a lot of questions. So. Okay, so let's move up to number 1, letter A, staffing. If we can just zip through this, Mary Ann or Madam Mayor,
Sure.
that would be great.
I'll defer to the mayor as to the full-time employee. I did speak to Bill Lawler, and he said he could definitely use one, but I haven't been authorized to run an ad, so I'm not sure where they're
We
at.
budgeted for one though, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
May I ask, are we looking for a skilled laborer for these positions in DMF?
See, that's one of the
Electrician,
things that,
carpenter,
see,
plumber.
that's what Bill and I are discussing right now. Should we go with what you're saying, a laborer, or a regular
Laborer or
person? with a-
craftsman.
Or or a regular person with a CDL. So we're in discussion process with that one right now.
You know, because
Okay,
a lot of times, you know, we hire some some workers that don't have particular trade that we could use.
Right.
I
Well,
know a lot.
like we have somebody who has sort of plumbing experience, we do. So we're talking in that vein, but we haven't decided exactly yet what that is
Okay.
gonna be.
And speaking of plumbing, I used the third floor bathroom, hot water, and the drain works, so thank you very much. I appreciate it.
But
I said in my report, we got a lot of
Yes.
repairs done. I
Just an
mean,
update, town
we're
update.
working a lot on them.
But I think, Madam Mayor, when you and Bill have these discussions, there's a list of all kinds of projects. I mean, that could certainly be used as almost a job description in terms of what you're looking for.
Well, in the contract, we do have a labor position, and we do have, regular, so we're working with that. Hopefully, we'll come to conclusion soon.
Okay.
We do have a couple of dispatcher candidates, but this week, Thursday, we have to interview crossing guards because we have to have them on board and trained before school starts. So we have 3 interviews on Thursday, then we'll focus on dispatchers after that.
What I understand from Chief Hooper today is they've had 4 applicants.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
And then Lieutenant Skinner has always been actively involved with the hiring process. And he was on vacation till, I think, tomorrow. So I think, as the mayor said, the mayor's going to be involved in that process.
Usually, he screens them first before we get to interview them, so.
So we had, and I understand your comments and appreciate those updates. We requested this as a council back in
March, April, yeah, with the budget.
with the budget.
I think we even requested it last year.
Yep.
And it's just, there's a reluctance, which I fully appreciate, to move dispatching to another venue. But this is one way where we can reduce the expense within that department by having a qualified dispatcher on the desk and freeing up a police officer to either be on the street or potentially reduce overtime, if I understand all the gyrations of scheduling. And we are now in July. This is not gonna happen until August sometime. A 6-month lead time, I just, don't understand. And I don't know if it's a lack of urgency from the police department, a lack of urgency from you, Madam Mayor, but I really think we should try to move this along as quickly as possible, because there is a real opportunity for real tax savings at no risk to township residents. So, it's a win-win in my mind.
Okay, well, I don't really want to get into the finances of it right now because there are other aspects that you have to consider, which I'll talk about another time. But we just got about 3 or 4 in the last couple of weeks, so, but right now, we do have an it's emergent, we really have to get the.
We budgeted for the
crossing-
finance for the
crossing
dispatch.
guards.
Yeah, but actually I don't know what happened if there was a delay, but I do know that the budget wasn't passed till May, and then it was pretty soon thereafter that they wrote the particulars for the ad and it was placed. You don't just run this and have, ask for them in a week. You let the
Well, I personally hand-delivered 2 applications to him.
Well, that was the first 2 we got, actually.
So why is it taking that long?
Were they qualified people? No?
Yes, they're all trained.
Okay.
And Mary Ann, to your point, I appreciate that, again, that the budget wasn't approved until May, but, is there an expectation in a town of our size that budgets that are discussed and agreed are gonna change that drastically, that we're going to lose or, can't move forward? Because at that point, from January 1st till May something, we can't do anything in town. So, I agree, I understand there's a budget process, but to fall back or to say that just because the budget wasn't approved until May, we can't do things, The town can't stop.
Well, I don't think that's exactly what you meant, because we've hired quite a few people recently. We had to
yes.
interview for purchasing, we had to interview for payroll, we had to interview for violations clerk, we had to interview, I don't know how many days we spent getting somebody into the court that was like really emergent.
Yes.
Okay, and the people from the county court come and interview with us. So we had to wait for their, and that was really critical, because we had nobody there. So we have hired and interviewed like a lot of people.
Which is exactly my point.
I
So
know, but-
you're doing it in the administration, but it seems that the police can't do it on the dispatching. And I'm just trying to understand, you know, the 5 councilmen, I think, all agreed, based on our understanding of some of the finances and some of the work rotations, that it would be a good idea to add another full-time dispatcher. And correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, I mean.
You're absolutely right.
I
Well,
just,
to a certain degree, another
Well, that was the
dispatcher
point.
is not gonna save anybody any money. Okay?
How is that, how is that
That
even?
is
Because,
crazy.
listen to me, if you hire another dispatcher, and the dispatcher starts at 39,000, let's say, that's what it's about, and you add all the benefits in, so that brings you up to 50 or so, is that dispatcher gonna save you that much money in overtime?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
you can put another person on the road.
And
You
it
don't
puts
have
someone
someone
on the-
sitting
it
behind
puts
the
a-
desk for twice the amount of
I
time.
hear what you're saying,
officer
I'm just saying,
on
there's
the
a
road.
lot more that goes into it than
that's not-
saying we're gonna
that's
save
no
money.
logic there
It
on that.
adds money to the total amount.
$45 an hour as opposed to 95? That's a savings of 50, well, around that. Okay, it's actually 30s, high 30s and low 80s.
I
That's
know,
still
but what
40
I'm saying
an
is, those
hour.
officers are still gonna be here, it's not like we're,
I agree, but
Yeah,
they're
but
gonna
they'll
be on
out on the
the street.
streets. They'll be out on the streets. I mean, you know,
And
I
you
know they
reduce
have a lot
overtime,
of
it's
training.
scheduled.
I'm just saying
Right.
that,
It's-
you know, it's not like cut and
So
dry.
can we
There are
make
other-
it,
Outsource dispatching.
It is cut and dry. You have 4 applicants, you make a meeting, you choose one, they're qualified, you put them on a desk.
I'm gonna
Cut and
say,
dry.
for years, the council and the mayor has disagreed on this for years, and it's not gonna change at this point, I don't think.
Tom, you know how many weeks every dispatcher is required to have training?
They're trained, Janet.
so listen, I think we
Okay,
should,
let's
let's
go
have
on to
another
the next one.
conversation with the chief and push more to get somebody here, that's all. I mean, you know, we're trying to be prudent in how we do things, and it was, we thought a good decision, so let's try and better it.
Okay, I don't know about the grant
Okay,
writers.
the grant writers, so there were 2 that I guess Sue sent out, and actually,
Well,
Mary Ann?
I just sent
Okay.
it with my stuff. Mary Ann put it together for me. I mean,
Bernadette did the photocopy.
Thank you, Sue.
So, who was it? I don't have notes. Who at the last meeting, there's 2 of you that were interested in helping with this evaluation? I thought it was Steve, and I'm not sure who else. But anyway, there are 2,
Well, hold
the
on,
thing is, they're a
so
lot of money.
does anybody, I mean, I'd certainly do
Oh,
it
that was
unless somebody
Bruno.
I'll do it, I said
Somebody
I'll do
else.
it. I'm fine with it.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to schedule interviews, let me know, we can put our heads together and meet them.
Okay.
I mean, they are a lot of money, and there's not nearly that much that you budgeted, so it would have to be for a smaller scale, but we can talk about that.
Okay,
All right, so it's gonna be Bob and Steve?
that's fine.
Okay. We'll talk at the end of the night,
Okay.
because the plan is to get them done this month, if we can.
Okay.
Okay.
We only have 2, right? 2 applicants?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the repair status, you know, I just, I mean, it's kind of getting tiring to discuss where we are with these projects, and which takes away time from our meeting, it takes away time from what I think is more, I think we all think is more important topics that we have to take care of. So I had submitted back when what I thought was a template to list these projects in each of these areas. You know, if we were to take the town hall, we would have painting this room, tile, outside, you know, et cetera, and then just have a schedule as to where all these purchase orders and requisitions lie, when the project is due to start and when it's due to be completed. And, you know, we're sitting here, and I think the resident brought up a good point. You know, we now have plasterboard on the wall, and it still hasn't been painted. I just, you know, I don't understand the wheels of progress here, but whatever we can do to move these projects forward and see what's there, so we don't have to discuss them all the time, and we don't have to talk about police locks and intercoms. I don't know what's happened in the police department anymore.
Well, I can give you a quick rundown of that.
Okay. I'd love to
The
hear it.
ventilation system was installed today. That was a situation where it was, the purchase order was put through a while ago, once we had the electricity fixed for it.
Okay.
And the contractor had to wait for the part to come in. That was done today. The floors, we're waiting on a decision by the mayor. The painting, we received 3 estimates, the lowest one, which was significantly lower than the other 2. We had asked the vendor for documentation establishing that they can, that they comply with.
This was for what, I'm sorry, for the?
I'm getting distracted over there. There was painting estimates, and we're waiting on documentation from the
police,
vendor.
for the police?
Yes.
Okay.
The intercom is fixed. Some of the safety and security items were all done. The doors are to be replaced as a part of a larger scale project, or that's how I envision it, and Bill Lawler, I haven't had a chance to talk about it with the mayor. Bill Lawler had done an evaluation of all the doors in the building, because I have noticed that they're not weatherproof, the weather stripping is not right, and they just seem like, and if you're gonna replace some, you know, you wanna make them look uniform. So, and I talked to the chief, and he's okay with having that police door replaced at the same time we do all others. So we're at the request for quote phase with Bill is doing that now. So that's the police department. As far as town hall goes, the other issues are the floors and the painting, which are hand in hand with how the police department's going to be handled. I think, and I've talked about this with a number of people here, that I think that the offices in this building need to be reconfigured, and that all has to be done as part of the same thing.
I agree.
Firehouse, Bill Lawler is asking JQ, who had done some of the work on this building, to provide a quote for the siding to prevent the birds from entering. The retaining wall repair, when I saw that in the agenda, I said, oh gosh, I thought it had been handled, but it hadn't been, and just today with a couple of emails to a contractor I knew of to get a quote. I received a quote already. I talked to Chris Steele, and looking at the level of damage, it almost looks like something the DMF could fix, and they in fact built that part of the wall. So, because there's no materials that are necessary for that. So that should be done. Bill Lawler told me he's gonna look at it in the morning to see if it's something he thinks they can do. If not, we have a contractor ready, willing, and able to do it. This was one where the mayor wanted to wait for the recovery from the insurance company, but they have told us that we're gonna get the money back. So at least I'll submit the quote to them, which I just received tonight as I was sitting at this meeting. And then there is a question that was raised about from our OEM director, Rio Fasciano. We had received, I think through FEMA funds, a grant for a generator to convert and upgrade the existing generator at the firehouse from diesel to natural gas. We have some time on that. It expires next year, but it seems like that's something that somebody has to pull the trigger on, because if we do the new building. And I think the evaluation was whether the $75,000 grant is enough, and if we're going to want to kick in the extra money. So that's something to be looked at.
Is it matching or?
No, it's 100%. They'll give us that. We don't have to match anything, but we're not thinking that amount's gonna foot the bill. But it seems something naturally to do at the same time you're gonna do an extra bay. So.
Also, we've had a lot of repairs at Memorial Field in terms of the well and the electric box. The well wasn't working, the sprinklers weren't working, we had them fixed, then they weren't working again, and then the electric box wasn't working, then that was working, then it wasn't working again. We went through this for a period of about a week and a half. It's finally all working. I don't know what was going on, but we spent a lot of time getting the electric guy back, the well guy back. I mean...
Can't we handle the sprinklers ourselves, or no?
No, it's done now. It's on, but it was in the electric, it was in the relay.
I know, but it's the electric, it's the well and the electric.
I know, it was...
I mean, I think first of all, I know we change the locks, I assume, to the wells, or we, you know?
To the electric box, yeah.
I mean, we should change the locks to everything. I know that you need a lock to get into that building when you turn the lights on. I don't really know what the electrical
I'm
looks
just
like.
saying, we've been getting so much done, it's like,
No, but I mean, we should lock all this stuff up, because it just seems that every other day, there's an issue with the wires, or there's an issue with the sprinkler, or there's an issue with the well. And, you know, we're not gonna be able to
I'm just
to
saying
get
that
anything done. No, I hear what you're
kept
saying, I
on top
agree with you.
of all these
And
things.
just a
Yeah,
few more
I
things.
agree. We just have to, you know, make the security better.
On Memorial Field, the scoreboard was part of one of the capital ordinances we did, so we've been pricing those out. I've been working with the director and the mayor on that. We're trying to, there's one under state contract, but the other, of course, the one that everybody wants isn't, so on and so forth, so we're looking at that. Mayor, may I ask, because I'm not privy to any of this, are we addressing the drainage issues at Memorial Field? Are they, like, is that something that's discussed at these meetings?
We actually discussed it on this last time, but again, you know, what is gonna be done with Memorial Field is, you know, drainage. I don't have the exact wording, but Chris went out there again, the engineer, into Memorial Field and looked at some drainage issues. So I don't know exactly what he's gonna propose.
And just one other thing, just as an overview, I had disseminated to all of you a snapshot of the budget. I think it was July 13th. June 30th, I had promised you I was away during that week, so I did it shortly after I got back. But you will see one of the line items we're really running up, about to expend fairly quickly is the engineer this year, because of all the projects we've been tackling. So, you know, it's great to make all this progress, but there are obviously financial ramifications. So that was one of the lines that
If we do anything else, we're gonna need transfers into engineering after November.
Yeah, I'd be happy if we had more progress.
I'm just saying that we've done so much that,
Okay, so can we get, can we please get a list of all the open projects for town hall, police, fire, DMF, and see where the requisitions are, see where the purchase orders are, see when the start date is and the completion date by, you know, next meeting? I mean, we have the new person who can put all these purchase orders together, right? I mean, you know.
we've been really getting them
I
done.
mean, you put a purchase order in for painting, it says purchase orders in for painting, it's gonna
Right.
be started this
Right.
date.
Well, it's a
You know, we're sitting here
requisition.
again, we, whatever you call it, I don't care what
Yeah,
you
but it
call
has to
it.
get turned into a purchase order.
Call it whatever you want, a requisition, a purchase order, or a painter, or someone to come in with a paintbrush, I don't care. But, you know, the question is, when is somebody gonna come in here and paint this room?
Well, don't
When
worry,
the
we'll
mayor
get to-
picks the color.
When mayor picks the color.
the chit has
Okay.
been, the color wheel has been on my table
Bob,
for.
really, we were so busy, I mean,
We had a volunteer from the audience.
No, it's funny. I would do it. My daughter was here for 2 hours one afternoon, killing time, and she picked out some colors. But I mean, she doesn't have the authority to do it. It's a matter of the WCTV personnel has
WCTV
suggested a certain hue.
a certain color, so, you know.
Okay.
So let's blame
So what has to
Larry.
be thought about past that?
Yeah.
Well, no, it has a lot to do with the shine when it goes on TV.
I'll make
and all
sure a
that.
requisition gets done this week.
Thank you.
Makeup.
Okay, anything else on repairs or lack of? And I don't mean that sarcastically, but we just like to get these things moving. We were on I think, a good fast track, and then it seems to have stopped. So let's pick it up, please. Peter, you wanted to talk about Habitat?
Just to get an update.
Yep, okay. I contacted J.C. Raimondo, so apparently they did, asbestos has been removed, certificate issued, rodent treatment has been done for demolition permit, electric and water utilities have been shut off, they need some sewer shut-offs, and so she's working with the board engineer that's got all the maps to find out where the lines are, and they can cut those, cap those. Also waiting for some bonding information from the engineer to complete the developer's agreement, and hopefully they'll be moving along.
Do they have pictures of what this might look like?
Yes, actually, there are renderings. I have a copy. I meant to ask them to send it to me. They did have it at, I went to this grand opening for the Restore in Westwood, And they did send me ones, and I meant to get ones to put on our website.
Okay,
if-
that'd be
If
great.
everybody thinks that appropriate.
Actually, people are asking about, we should post it.
Ken,
Yes.
did they have a, like, shovel-ready date when they would actually start construction, or?
You just got my report of what they told me. You know, they don't have a shovel-ready date that I can see.
I mean, I have to say,
Well-
this is one of the first things that Tom and I tackled when we came on the council
Right.
3.5 years ago.
Right.
I know government moves slowly, and I don't know Habitat, but wow.
No, but, no, I have to tell you that
Too slow?
Peter,
Been around for 9
no,
years.
Peter, if I might.
Yes, please.
I do know that they're, back in the spring, their timetable called for construction now. And the asbestos remediation, I think, set them back. So I do know that, you know, it's, now that J.C.'s back in and she's moving it along, it is definitely one of their priorities, but they're hitting obstacles along the way.
Because, I mean, I voted to give it to Habitat thinking they were better at this than we are, but it seems to be taking an awful long time.
They are.
On both,
They
our
are.
our behalf and their behalf. Okay, thanks.
Okay, moving on, contract negotiations,
I'm sorry.
BMF. Oops, sorry.
May I ask just,
Yep, go ahead.
do they have an idea, have they reached out in terms of, I guess it goes to the shovel-ready, but when they might need volunteers from the community and when that is going to kick off? Or
Well,
can
I
you-
talked to JC the other day, and she stated that if
Who's
we can
JC?
start putting,
Who's J.C., sorry?
from Habitat,
Habitat.
He's the executive director.
Oh, okay.
if we can start reaching out to the community, you know, she needs cabinet makers, plumbers. I already got a cabinet maker, I already have a plumber, so I'm working on electricians.
And just further, I just was searching my emails back in middle of June. She had asked me for information about the number of the VFW posts that it previously was for an application she was putting together for the Giants Foundation. And then she said, FYI, the Giants are coming to the project for a build day in October, and will build and film. So,
Okay.
I'm
Very
thinking that's the New Jersey Giants, or New York Giants, or I'm not sure.
Yes.
We'll have one.
All right.
Okay, contract negotiations, DMF.
As you know, from our conversation we have, it does expire at the end of this year. I had a conversation with,
So I wasn't sure, so I put it down, so it's 12/31? it ends?
12/31, yes. And I looked at, somebody had said maybe the contract would have some language regarding negotiations. It does not. I reviewed it. I spoke to the representative at the DMF who would be, and he told me that they are meeting with their union rep to put together a list of wants.
Yeah.
And that's obviously the first stage of the negotiations for them to communicate what they're looking for. So I've made the overture, and I talked to the mayor just this afternoon, so we'll send a letter to the union representative asking for that officially, so that it kind of puts something out there with a time frame so we can move this matter along.
They contacted me late this afternoon to tell me that they contacted the union person, and they're meeting with him to put together their proposals, and then we'll meet with them.
So, Ken, is this something that you, from a legal standpoint, handle?
Most of the time on the DMF, it's been kind of like, the administration has worked out,
Yeah.
the items with the DMF. They've not been really all that difficult to do. It depends on what their asks are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
But,
said
yeah.
they don't think it's gonna be.
I mean, normally it's really pretty easy
If it
stuff.
is, does it go through you, though?
Well, it goes through in terms of amending the contract, yeah.
And just so you know, Bob, I mean, there were things that I've noticed in reading the contract that I want to clean up, so I'll take advantage of that opportunity and pass them on to Ken. It's just things that wouldn't necessarily strike Ken, but from like just an execution of the contract perspective, I think they just need to be tweaked a little bit.
Okay, what is it, a 2-year deal?
It could be as long as you want. I mean, I think the current deal was 14, 15, 4 years.
4 years.
So it could be anywhere from 2, 3, 4, 5, it depends.
Okay, do they dictate that, or do we?
Did they get what?
No,
Do they dictate what they want, or do we?
No, they present a proposal, and then we,
there was a comment today, and I don't know if it's gonna be in their proposal today, about how they wanted to get off the election year cycle. and that wasn't allowed last time.
I don't, did they ask for a ceiling?
I wouldn't get involved with talking about this.
Yeah.
About what?
I know.
Public,
I agree.
You shouldn't be
Okay.
discussing
Shouldn't be
those.
discussing it.
I just wanted to know if they asked for a
We
ceiling.
can.
Okay, miscellaneous.
Mm.
So you're handling that, and you're getting a request, and you'll work it out with Madam Mayor.
What's up? Oh.
Okay, shared service agreement, emergency, non-emergency equipment. Did this come from you, Sue?
No,
No?
it was administrative from the
No,
mayor, actually.
From the mayor? Madam Mayor?
We were waiting.
You have shared service agreement, non-emergency, emergency equipment? Any issues with that, or you just want us to look at it, or we're good with it?
No, we didn't.
No.
It was an agreement that was sent to us to the county, and it got forwarded to Ken for review. It was just an issue of JIF.
Have we changed?
That was the agreement with the county, when we had a fire truck that was down, we borrowed one of their trucks.
No, that's a different agreement. That was
This is for
that was
paving of roads.
Oh,
No, this is
No,
different.
that's
This is
something
different. What Tom is saying is similar, but that was specific to fire truck loan. This is just generally, that was proposed by the county, hey, we're here to help you if you want.
Yeah.
That's a
And,
different one.
and then it was sent to Ken for review, and I think he suggested contacting JIF, so I'll let Ken speak
Yeah,
to
and
it.
basically, I thought there might be an issue of coverage. There was. I then contacted the county council, who initially said that 25 municipalities had already signed the agreement without the change, but he said he would look at it. Then he got back to me and said he looked at it and he thought it was a good idea. He did make the change and sent it back to us.
Is the change
Are
reflected
you
in this
talking about
document?
they're
That's-
just
that's
here
the
in
agreement.
general?
That's the agreement, that's the, all.
Because there's another one
This is
about
the one for
the,
this is the one for the equipment, right, that just borrowing,
Oh.
taking the municipal
well, there's
equipment.
another one that they sent out about what they do for road, what they
This
don't
was
do for
not,
road.
this was not roads.
Okay.
Ken, what was the deficiency on this one? Could you point that out?
It was just the insurance coverage.
And is that put in this
In the new
document
one,
here?
Yeah, it's in here.
Okay.
So you're good with it, Ken?
Yeah.
They didn't have any insurance coverage for property and casualty on their equipment, or?
It was just the way that the chief wanted to what they write and what they don't write.
Okay.
And it's free.
Yeah,
Take it
Yeah.
free, take the free.
get everything we can.
You're paying for it, might as well take advantage of it.
Well, I haven't read it.
All right,
So basically, I think it's a resolution authorizing it, that's all.
I'm sorry, say again?
I think it's basically a resolution by the council authorizing.
Do we need that, or?
Can we put that on
Yeah,
for the
it's an
next,
agreement, yeah.
can we do that now, Ken, or do we have to wait for the next meeting to have it typed up?
I don't have a resolution with me.
I didn't even see it.
Honestly, I didn't read it. I mean, I can't
I didn't even,
imagine us not doing it, but
Yeah.
I'd like just
I
a
didn't read
chance
it,
to
I
read
didn't
it.
see it yet.
So we'll put it
Read
on the next one.
So you can have a resolution for
So
the
we'll
next
put a
meeting?
resolution for the next one.
Thank you.
Ken, please, thank you. Okay, purchasing of computers.
You saw the email today, I think everybody's up to speed. Not to
I'm
be
sorry,
curt,
so-
but I sent an email asking
Yeah, so-
Doug, and he said that he's waiting for prices back and end of business tomorrow.
Well, I'd like to know, most of that, the hardware we get at state prices,
Right.
what would stand in the way of getting this done at this point, if all those things come under state contract?
I guess signature.
requisitions and,
Let's just, I think I'm optimistic that it's gonna go through, because it's gonna be, we've gone through the analysis, and let's see how it goes. We're meeting on what, the 7th of August?
There was a lot of work done by Councilman Calamari,
By a lot of people.
and there's a clear deficiency in the personal computing equipment in Town Hall. So I'm hoping that we don't have any problems.
I'm optimistic.
I guess I just don't understand how, again, we do all this work, and Peter does, and other people, and we have this, and at one point, we're still waiting for somebody, DART, to give us a price. Oh, is that right? I read your email
Yeah,
quickly.
but wait a second. I mean, Bob, I mean, it takes work to put together a proposal, so there's pricing to be done. I mean, I just think everybody here, I think you generally do, but sometimes you forget. There's a lot involved with putting together a price quote.
And if I may, Bob, he didn't want to do anything until the budget was approved because he's been down this road before with the town where money's put in the budget and doesn't make it all the way through. So he wanted to see a little good faith on the town that we at least put the budget in. And then he and I met and reviewed the requirements after that. And, you know, from the most recent updates between Mary Ann and him, I think he'll come through with the pricing relatively quick. I'm just hoping that no roadblocks get in the way after
Okay.
that.
So
Peter,
there's a
I just want
requisition.
to make a comment on that. I think we do put money in that area for the budget, and we've done it in the past. For some reason, it doesn't get issued. So the
Yeah,
council has
that's-
always,
that's
has always
what I
put money
meant to
there.
say if I didn't say it so
understand that.
clear.
I just want to let
Yeah.
you know that the money's been there,
Yeah.
it just hasn't been utilized.
Okay,
that's all.
so Madam Mayor, it's basically, is there an issue that you see in purchasing?
I don't have a problem with that. I haven't gotten anything.
No, I'm just asking the question.
I don't have a
Because-
problem with anything. I want to look at it, yes.
Okay.
But he's the one who's supposedly getting the prices, so let him get the prices and put
Okay,
them in.
but if all the prices and the equipment are under our cap budget, you're okay with it?
I just said to you, I'm okay with it. I want to look it over, okay, and see what's what
I
and what's
understand that.
going where. But, you know, I don't have a problem with it.
So you don't see yourself just not approving it, as long as everything is
You know, I'm not going to answer
satisfactory?
that question, Bob, okay? I'm not going to answer it.
Okay?
I also told, in the beginning, I expressed how I wanted this proposal to come, and it wasn't done the way I asked, okay? And I asked for it several times, but even with that, I'm still not opposed to it, okay? But I
Okay, so
don't
what,
think it
so
was,
so let's go back, so what do we need to do?
One
to-
second, we don't have a proposal now. It didn't come in the format you like it.
Yeah, what do we have to get, here, I'm not.
I wanted two proposals.
I'm not
okay?
arguing. I just
wanted
want to
two
understand what
proposals.
we need.
That's all I
State
asked
contract.
for, was two proposals. I did not get it, but I'll still go with this one, okay? And stop questioning me.
Two proposals, meaning two.
I wanted two different proposals, okay, so I could compare. All right, but I didn't get that. I got this one, and they still haven't priced it out. I'm not the one who's holding it up, okay?
No, I'm just asking a question. Again,
Well, don't ask it again, please.
okay, I
Thank
won't
you.
ask it
I
again.
appreciate that.
Until,
I may ask it again.
all right.
I wish I could sit up here and say, don't ask me questions.
Okay, so the requisition and/or whatever it is you need, you'll have and you'll review, and then you'll let us know. That's a statement, it's not a question again, so. Okay, we'll move to council minutes. So the minutes from May to present, we're all, that's what's still due? From May 2017 to present. Cornelia's working on that. All the closed session minutes are complete. That's good news, thank you. If anybody has any questions, please stop me. Shared calendar, again, I just put it on there. I think Sue's trying to develop a calendar for all of us to look at. And I know not a shared calendar, but just something for us to see what's happening. I know Peter's looking at rack space to see whether or not that could work. That would be good. Prospect Street update. We had the update today from Mary Ann. And I guess, I saw the update. We're waiting for quotes. Did you have any conversations with the residents after your email?
I did call the residents the other day when they had
Okay.
to clean out.
No, nothing, and the fact that they aren't here, I took, maybe,
I did
they're on
take-
vacation, but, they're not here, so hopefully they're satisfied with the information they
Yeah.
received.
I did talk to them over the weekend and last week.
Okay. I have traffic study.
Yeah, I just didn't get a chance to call the vendors on the O&D studies, so I'll do that next week
Okay.
for next time. I just didn't get to it, I'm sorry.
Okay, signs, the stop signs, I believe, are ordered or being ordered for at least Van Amberg, correct?
Well, actually, I was surprised to hear the mayor say that tonight because you told me you weren't gonna sign that requisition. So I'm a little bit confused.
For the Van
No,
Emberg
no, no,
signs?
but those were 30-inch signs, I thought those were supposed to be 36.
No, they're for 36-inch signs. Your issue was where it was, how it's getting funded. I told you there was no money in any of the ordinances.
Oh, yeah, we have no money in any of the ordinances.
Yeah, but there's a line item in the budget for traffic controls. It was originally planned for potentially a repair of a traffic light at the intersection, but it's there and it's adequate to cover the
How much
signs.
is in there?
That's a
$7
traffic
grand.
control.
We just make it, it's like 6,800.
No, Janet, the signs are like 4,000 something. They're not
3,400.
3,400 or something.
Yes, that's what I said,
You
6,800.
said just make it. No, they're not each 3,400. They
Yeah.
are.
Yep,
Yeah.
the 36-inch signs.
No, I don't think so. Go
I
ahead.
thought they were 3,400 each.
Okay, well, while Mary Ann's looking at that, did you get a street sign list from Mr. Lawler of all the other signs that we need?
Yes, he had put in a requisition, which again is also hasn't yet been approved. It went to the mayor Linda last week. It had just a few signs. I said to him, well, I'd like to see your signs. He handwrote his list of signs. There's 15 on Pascack Road, 5 on Clinton, 2 on Linden, 13 on Ridgewood Road.
Did he say which ones they-
So
what
on
did he-
and so forth. He ordered, I have a copy of
But
the
did he
record.
say what they were, like street signs,
Yeah, these
stop
are street
signs?
signs. No, he has,
They're name signs.
Oh,
wait,
name
they're
signs.
name signs. Just to backtrack, he said no stop signs are missing, but some need work. They're not,
They're
but
like-
there's
they're
no
faded.
missing stop signs, because
Right.
that's a priority if you have a missing stop sign.
Okay.
These are all, but there is, gosh, if I had to add this up, I'd say about 200 missing street signs, and he's only put in for Jackson Ave, Hoover, Hickory, Willow, and Ridgewood Road and Ridgewood Boulevard East. I don't know if, and this hasn't been approved, so I don't know what the mayor's feelings are, if you're going to approve this, and if so, should he put in for more, and how he should prioritize.
We have to look at the budget and see exactly where the money's coming from and how much we have.
So can we, okay. So,
Well,
There are
okay.
accounts that are,
Yeah, I think we need to look at the budget and the
They-
accounts.
we have to figure out all the signs we need and
What's
how
the
much.
cost of all the signs, Mary Ann, do you think?
Oh, gosh, I don't know, but I can tell you that just 6 signs. Okay, the one he just recently put in, and these are ones that need posts, so it's not a strict just 6 signs. The sign part of it is, the signs go for $29 each. $30, it depends on the size of them. If they're 24 by 6, they're $29 each. If
Yeah.
they're 30 by 6, they're $36 each. If they're 36 by 6, they're $42 each. The poles cost money.
So if we say an average of 30, if I just said 35
cost more.
signs times 200, that's $7,000 of signs. If you said 200 signs, I'm using an average of $35.
How much are the poles?
Well, most places the poles are there. And there's nothing to prohibit them from using those U-channels. Is that what
We
they're
have that
called?
many street signs missing?
What do you mean?
We have that many street
Well,
signs?
I could add it up, 15,
No, I mean-
5, I'm just guessing, it's like 150 if I did it on the map.
Missing, faded, bent, I'm
20,
sure there's a lot.
22,
Yeah,
35,
but
30.
you don't want to use the
Missing
U channels, people
Not
want
looking
the
good.
regular poles,
60, 70.
People want the regular
4,
poles.
5, 80,
not the U channels.
487,
What do you mean the people want them?
89,
What's
92, 93,
what's allowed by law?
96.
I know, but I'm saying, the last time they put a U channel, somebody complained, about a couple of months
I
ago.
get people complaining to me all day in my business, but it's this
What do you
deal.
mean the U,
The round
green?
poles are regular round, the U
Yeah.
channel is the one with all those,
Uh-huh, the holes
Yeah.
in it?
yeah, so
Why
he
would they
tried
complain
to
about the
put,
pole?
use,
141 I just counted.
141 street signs.
Less the, how many did I just say, 6, 5?
Well, if it's 141 at an average price of $35, I'm...
Well, no, that includes the ones I just rattled off, so minus 6, so 135.
Same thing, so it's under $5,000. for
And I'm
these
just gonna
signs.
tell you what's in the budget for that line, because I have that document here, 26.
It's 4,000.
That's what you guys earmarked?
I don't know, that's what I remember.
No, 2,800 only.
2,800.
Do we have
Yes.
this year, half next year?
And you've spent 1,000 so far, so you're down to 1,760 with this. You don't have much left, but you still have money left.
Okay, so we'll have to
Well, we
dig.
can always
Well,
transfer
we
it.
have to
Yeah, we gotta
see what the
find out.
mayor's,
Right.
I mean, I think Janet, you had said you want to do maybe the mains first.
We'll do the mains first, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we have 135 signs out there we have to look at. I have the senior center down here. I don't know, Madam Mayor, if anybody's looked at the layout, or what it is we think they need, or like, or you'd like. I just put it down here again. I don't know where that project is. Nothing?
Can we look at the senior center in terms of what is in there? And, you know, I don't know how the agreement is set up, but there are, in one corner, there's, I guess, supplies or something. I don't know if they use it all the time. I mean, can they be stored somewhere outside of the senior center or stored
Which
somewhere else?
supplies you talking about?
They
Like
have,
the computers?
they have exclusive domain over that. They
Yeah.
get to control how that's organized and used. We only potentially can use it if it's
We're only
not.
allowed to use it if they give us permission, and we have a letter from the federal government stating that,
Yeah.
because it was built with federal funds for senior centers.
Okay.
Actually, they're very flexible and very helpful, and,
Enough said.
So nothing yet.
you know,
Okay. East Glen Avenue. I think this was the speed limit. So this, we put on again, but we talked about this in June, and everybody kind of knocked it down, and then now it came up again. Oh, sorry, Tom. You can do it from there.
East Glen.
So we had this on June 12th, at one of the meetings, and then it kind of got knocked down, and it's back up, so.
I believe what the residents are complaining about is that the township speed is 35, and when you cross into Ridgewood, it's 25. And as you come down the hill, there's a patrol car there from Ridgewood, and
waiting for
you're
you.
getting tickets. So his complaint was, why can't we make it all 25 and in the township side?
Did you speak to the chief about this? Because I think the last conversation was, it just, you know, it kind of was like a no type thing. They had to do a traffic study. They sent an email. There was a whole long,
I don't understand what a traffic study,
don't
well, they delay a lot of things that we need to get done in this town.
My understanding is that there hasn't been a lot of
So
mishaps there.
What are they saying, so that
Okay.
they be going
You know,
slower,
it's
so when they
actually
go over the hill?
going
They go-
down and going up is
Right, so
35,
when they
the
go over
same.
the hill,
I don't
they
see a
don't
lot
have
of
time to slow down,
accidents
they
there,
go
and
to-
Pete, you don't see a lot. You live right in the area.
Close.
Okay? Also, I can't prevent someone from speeding in another town. That's not my responsibility, okay? You're an operator of a motor vehicle. If it's posted at 25, you drive 25. If our residents can't follow the speed limit on one road, I'm not gonna go start changing my signs for other municipalities so they feel inadequate. So I'm gonna say just leave it as is.
And that's where we left it the last time.
You know, sometimes people do have difficulty getting up that hill because it is a very steep grade for some cars, believe it or not. I think if you reduce it to 25 going on an incline, you might even cause more problems. But that's my take on it.
By the way, I just found an email. The two LED signs together are 2,900. They're $14.50 each.
Sold.
are those
By
the
36
36
inch?
inch?
Yes,
Oh,
from
so-
Garden State
okay.
Highway Products.
So, two, what, 30?
2,900.
I think Tapco was the place that was
Okay.
being
I
ordered.
thought each one was that. Okay, good, so let's order them.
I thought Tapco was the place that,
No, that's the maker. It's a two Tapco 36
that.
inch signs.
By 4.
Buy 4.
But I'm telling you that it's out of a $7,000 budget, leaves you some money for
yeah,
repairs
but
and
what's the
traffic light.
account that is $7,000? What's the name of the account?
Traffic controls?
Okay, so we got 2 signs. Good.
That's all.
Steve, you
Cool.
have a Demilitarized Equipment 1033 program.
I think we need a tank in town, no.
It was a very interesting resolution.
And a missile defense system.
And a missile defense system,
Quite
yes.
scary, actually.
First strike capabilities. No, this is from Representative Josh's office. If we were looking to do tables or some type of file cabinets like we talked about, again, if you look at the ordinance, they're not gonna sell you a tank or anything, or warplanes or weapons or anything, but if you wanna get into that program where they have excess inventory, we have to do a resolution. This is just a resolution. We got this one, I think, so you talked to Westwood about it, and this is the one that, Washington sent to Westwood, and it's just the same thing. So if we wanna get involved in the program, we have to do a resolution saying.
A lot of towns have done this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's free equipment. Hopefully we can maybe get some tables or some chairs or with, office equipment.
I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of police conversation here too, so I guess they would have to see this.
Well,
I
again,
assume, I mean, we could do the resolution, I don't have a problem.
You
I
know,
think you should just do the resolution and
It
then.
just a
actually
resolution.
opens it up for generators.
all types of
pumps.
things.
Yeah.
So, I'd like
Just
to
a
have
matter
that
of
on.
whoever does the resolution, I looked at it,
Can we
that,
give you that?
Do I have
Yeah.
it?
No, I'm saying, can we give you that one for that resolution for this?
it's already typed up, but I just say, reading wise, the first paragraph belongs as the last whereas.
Did I
It's
see
just, it's where was it? Who,
I didn't
is
see
it in the packet? It's in the packet.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Toward the end,
Okay, I didn't see, okay, that's okay.
It's in the packet, but
should
you
be all
look
the
at
way
it, the first whereas clause jumps the gun.
Right.
It just, it sets up
Certainly
the
does.
acronyms, but it really belongs in the body. I think it's laid out better if you change it that way.
So,
Okay,
anyway,
so-
that's what it is, and
Yeah.
I'd like to have it on for the next meeting, so we can get part of that program.
okay, so. So,
Yes.
all right. Kind of lost my track here on my page.
Number 9.
No, I'm trying to find, what's number 9? Okay. Wetlands Maintenance Facility, oh, is this you, Mr. Sears?
Yeah, well, we already talked about it,
Okay.
so we can move on.
So, but let's talk about, I
Okay.
didn't want to get into it then. So, the letter you want to come from, what's the body of the letter? Is this and is this something that maybe from your side would be easier to draft for us? I'm not sure what it is you wanted to say.
Well, I want a letter from the
Tom.
council administration stating that we oppose to this project being built on wetlands.
Well, you can't build on wetland, I mean, DEP controls wetlands.
But they sent a
Yeah,
letter
but they have-
down there to get approval.
They,
You'd have to get permit.
no, they asked the DEP for a delineation. With the letter that they sent down there. We, number one, would have to get a copy of whatever the DEP sent back to them, either delineating it a wetlands or not, okay? And then you can proceed from there. And the other thing is, I think the school board, they have to get approval from the state, when they're building a project. So that's another thing, you'd have to know whether or not they got the state approval. They go to a state agency. They do not have to come to planning board for that. We always ask them as a courtesy if they would come to us so that we can look at it to see whether or not, it conforms to things in town and so on. So, Tom, if you want to pursue anything, we should just get together and sit down and go through the information we
Okay.
have and see how we can write it or how we can.
Absolutely.
So I think that's the best way to proceed.
Okay. Codification. Mr. Paulo's waiting for all our comments, due in September.
When are comments due?
I don't know when you said.
September.
Okay.
For what?
Codification.
Okay.
The 2017 salary ordinance, I mean, I'm okay with it, but we have some discussions tonight, so I guess we can't do anything with it till after discussions, yes? School parking ordinance. This one, I think, is,
Just like a ball?
hmm?
Is that the one with the, all the streets?
Yes.
You got that, right?
Yes.
That's the one, the 2-hour parking.
I just had one question on the maps. Did we omit Cosman for a reason?
Cosman's just a small little dead-end circle. It's at the very end of the township. It's like a little loop. You probably can't even get one car in there because the way the driveways are built, everything comes into a driveway. There's no space there.
Okay.
Where is it?
Cosman.
Where is it?
If you head down towards Forest Avenue, past Old Lafayette on the right-hand side, left-hand side, I'm sorry,
Okay.
you'll see it. It's a little cul-de-sac.
I think it's the very last street.
Oh, right there in the end?
Yes.
If you know.
Yeah.
It's 3 houses, 4 houses.
With that.
Okay, so do we have any questions? I mean, I know that residents sent some emails. The last one, I think, came in, which I didn't get a chance to fully read everything about alternate side versus what we're doing here. I don't know if anybody has any comments on that.
Maybe they should try doing alternate side at the high school, alternate in their parking lot. But again, the way they state, the burden's on the township people here.
Yeah, I don't
I mean,
disagree
we're
with
at a
that.
point now where it's ridiculous. If that person wants to work, then they need to go to the school board. They got plenty of property in the back, plenty of property on the side. I would suggest that she goes there first and establish parking spots back there.
You talk
Okay.
about, excuse me for 1 second, you talk about their wetlands delineation. You realize a lot of that space behind the high school is all wetlands, and you can't do anything with it, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
They got a tennis courts back there that nobody uses except for people on Sunday.
So
What
Ken,
about
we need
the
to
tennis
post an
team?
ordinance
You know,
first?
It's
I have
in,
yet to see one.
They're in
I have yet to
the,
see one.
boys are in the fall,
Do anything
girls
now?
are in the spring.
No,
I think we,
If you like it, introduce it next time.
We can introduce it next meeting? Okay. So we'll introduce it next meeting?
Is that a
Gentlemen?
complication?
Unfortunately, this is a no-win for
Oh,
anyone.
no.
Yeah, I know.
is that?
I thought you were gonna do it this time.
And is that timing, because we want this in place for September 1st?
Well, that's why I thought that was gonna be done this week.
That's why, yes, that's why I'm raising the issue. If we
Okay.
defer it till August,
So you want to introduce it?
I think if it meets the parameters of what you were saying, introduce it tonight.
Okay.
So Sue, you got
Let's do it.
you have the introduction format there, Sue, from the last 2 ordinances we just did? You just pull one out?
I'm sure I just printed one, hold on.
If not, it's a nice time for a break.
Yeah, there you go, take a break.
Because don't forget, those signs have to be installed and everything.
Bob,
too.
seriously, are we gonna have a break soon? I kinda need one.
Okay. Break time.
Step at a time. When someone comes in and lost their pad, we issue them a replacement license. But however, when I do the reports, the monthly reports, I still have to pay for that license, and it's only the fee of $2. So I would ask to just, at least for now, I know in the
Wait,
past,
say that again? When somebody loses.
a license,
Okay.
I issue them a replacement license. We normally don't charge them for that replacement license.
You don't?
No, but I would like to.
But it costs us $2?
$2. It's not a lot, but it's $2, and if you
So
have,
you have to send $2 to the
To the
state?
state.
yes.
So what's our share? What's the,
No, our share of it would be, well, if it's $10, it would end up being $8 on our share. So at least to cover the replacement.
oh, okay, well,
That's
I'm
what I'm
just,
saying.
okay, I thought you were, okay.
And you know, last year, I don't know if you're aware, if Cornelia let you know, there was an analysis done about
Yes.
raising fees, and the council at the time wasn't open
Yes.
to doing that.
So unless you're,
So we didn't want to raise the fees, but the replacement tag for $2 is not a big whoop, right?
I think that's fair.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
Yep,
You know,
okay.
it's not, like, we're not getting the money, the state's getting the money.
right.
So
You're just
let them know
covering
when
their
they come
cost.
in, Sue, $2.
Yeah, just
Alright,
let them know it's not our money. It's
Well, you have to do an ordinance, right?
Yeah,
Then
we-
we have to amend it?
We
Yeah.
just did.
If it were only so easy, Bob.
Well, Bob, that's
It's like
why,
getting computers.
It'll
Bob,
cost us more to amend the ordinance than it will for the cost the $2.
well, what I was, that's why I was bringing up the history of the license fees, because Sue
All right.
intimated they were low.
Ken, you have another one, Ken?
What?
Another ordinance for $2 replacement tag fee.
Curb to curb.
Not tonight, though. All right, curb to curb?
Do you get a lot of them, Sue?
The replacement, off the top of my head, John, I don't know how many
Oh,
we've
this
done.
thing?
We've probably
Oh,
done
okay.
about, 10 of them.
30.
Really? That many?
So, Madam Mayor, in the last one on B5, curb to curb, there was some language that I think we had asked you that you had some concern. Mr. Steel had put some language in about provisions for emergencies in streets younger than 3 years old to use infrared pavement restoration. And I don't know if you had a chance to look at this language and whether you agreed with it or not.
No, I didn't look at it, sorry.
Okay, so you'll take a look at that one, curb to curb?
Okay.
He's got an email there.
You see that in there, Janet? It's in there, the email is in there.
Amend no left turn
It's in your
ordinance to
packet.
include shopping center, north-south exit. So that's coming out, I guess there's no ordinance where it says no left turn, we don't have that?
No.
Coming out of the
No.
shopping center?
No, I
You
don't,
did the shells, you did the gas station?
oh, the gas station,
And we
yeah.
were supposed to do coming out of the shopping center? and we
Nobody
did
told
not
me
do
to do
that.
in the shopping center. You want another shopping center now?
We got another one too.
Yep.
Or maybe amend the one we have, I guess, right?
No,
Or
well,
is this a separate one? I don't know.
all right, where, somebody can tell me where it is?
The north end and the south end of the shopping centers.
The north end and the
Yeah, when
south.
That's
the-
only
the
one
en-
way
the
going in.
entrance and the
no,
But they
exit.
make the turn.
Okay.
Going,
North end
they
and-
make it left going
By
out.
the movie theater and by
Oh,
the,
I got it now, the N and the
Yeah.
S, okay, now I understand.
By the way, just so you all know,
Yeah.
tomorrow, there's gonna be a lot of detours tomorrow.
I got you.
all right,
You know,
gentlemen.
There's gonna be a
gentlemen.
lot of detours tomorrow, everybody.
Yep.
Okay, you know that, right? Pascack Road in Washington?
Yep,
I work from home.
all right. One-way lane, is that, that's in?
That was in the shopping center.
Okay.
There's been the conversation.
That was the one that everybody was going down the wrong way.
I don't think we can do anything with that though, right?
I don't know.
They moved the signs a little bit.
I feel like somebody hit the sign.
Yeah, when you come in.
You know,
make
so,
the left,
you know
the
what that
first
is?
lane
That's in the
out
lot
lane,
itself.
and everybody starts pulling in.
When you go in the lot,
We had
it
a couple
says,
dozen accidents
no, to
there.
you, it says do not enter, you know, but I don't know if we can enforce in the lot itself, can we?
Well, in the lot, no, you had.
As soon as you go in the lot, the
Yeah.
main section,
gotta
you
be
make a
in front of
left to
the
go
planning
toward Food Town.
Okay.
The first lane, they put up a do not enter sign now.
Okay, here's, they did?
Yeah, somebody did.
no.
It was
We
part
did.
of, it was
Oh, we
part
did?
of Paul Azzolini's recommendations for that parking lot. I personally, well, never
But
mind.
we
I
didn't-
think that's, it's causes more traffic that people can't go left there, but anyway.
Yeah, it's the same as the
Well,
other
fir-
side. I think
First
that's
of
why
all,
they-
the shopping center is not like a regular road that we just can pass an ordinance. We have to
That's
get their,
what- that's what I'm
we gotta
asking.
get their consent, and it's part of that, the
But-
overall
but-
plan, and they have to consent to doing that.
But don't we have,
There is a plan
I mean,
that was already approved that should have the traffic flow.
yeah.
But as far
They
as.
changed it all.
They changed it?
Yeah, they redid that lot.
Well, we
They
changed
took
it,
down
yeah.
Okay,
a
but
brick
But
divider.
but they gotta go in front of the planning board.
No,
to make any
they're
changes.
doing it in accordance with what the planning board just approved. They were in
Right,
front of the
just
planning board
approved.
within the last year.
Right.
And they're doing, whatever they're doing now is, it
Consistent
should
with-
be consistent.
with the planning
Should
board
be,
plans.
yeah.
Okay. That-
And I know that as soon as that sign came up for that one, you can't prohibiting the turn, I questioned it with somebody and they said, no, that was what the plan was approved to do.
If it's approved, it's
Okay.
approved, you really can't do much. So
Okay.
you gotta make sure it jives. What they're doing is
Yeah.
consistent with the plan.
But I know as far as that one lane of traffic, I questioned it because I
So is it a
didn't think
planning-
it was the
They
greatest,
can't,
but
the
somebody
planning
said it was
board can't come
approved.
back and say, no, we messed up.
They did it because on the other side, it's exactly the same thing on the other
Unless
side.
there's another,
No, that
unless
I
there's
don't know
another
about.
application.
They're talking between the parking lot.
Okay, did anybody know if they addressed this north-south exit?
Not-
I
not for the
haven't
food
seen the plan.
I doubt it.
Not for food.
I don't think anybody looked at that for
Well,
years.
Ken, just so you know, the way the ramps are, the outbound
No, I'm
lanes
afraid
are
to come in there
curved,
one
so
day
you only
facing
can
a
go
trailer
right.
truck.
Oh,
There, it's,
So what, when he bought it?
No, you
on
can
site?
make it,
you can fit your car, I mean.
people make the left.
People make the left.
Some of the truck deliveries
It's
do
not,
it.
it's not only the cars, it's the big trucks that are
But the
making the
planning
left.
board didn't address that at all?
I doubt
And
it.
they didn't amend their...
They probably never knew how many trucks this guy was gonna bring in there.
I
on
don't
a
think that was
daily
in
basis.
front of them, Ken.
I bet they didn't get it.
The original, I would think that it was because of the way the positioning of the exits. The way they're almost trying to force you to the right, but it doesn't prohibit you from going left. And if you make the left, it's obvious that you're hooking.
You tie up the whole
Yeah.
street.
Your signage would be probably on,
On the sidewalks? Is there sidewalks there?
probably on Pascack going south, on that side, on the side, right
Right by
in front of
Town
here.
Hall and the U-turn, yeah.
Right in front of here.
You're
So,
talking about coming out or going in?
going in,
Oh, going in.
yeah.
Oh, so that, that's our street. Okay.
Yeah,
I
so we
thought
can put a
I thought
sign
you were
there.
coming out of the parking,
Yeah, coming out,
Yeah, well
coming out
then-
also. So when you come out by the Food Town area, by the Memorial Park.
You don't want to make a left-hand turn?
Right.
But that sign would
It
be...
says no left turn or right only, but people make the left anyway. But I don't know if that's ever been addressed properly. That's
No,
all.
in the south end of the parking lot where the movie house is,
Right.
the trailer trucks are literally making a left-hand turn off of Pascack Road to go
Okay.
Into.
into.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a pass.
Then-
That we can do.
Right.
Then, they're
Right.
coming out the inn.
They are.
They're going out
Same way.
on the south side
Yeah,
also?
same way.
Wow.
And that's a death.
Oh, I don't know what he's talking
Looks like somebody made
about. You
it.
should just look at the door right here.
That they
We'll,
are.
we'll take a look at it, yeah.
Okay.
Should station the police officer, it sounds like it'd make a lot of money.
Yeah, with the e-cop ticket.
E-ticket, yeah, E-ticket, sit right
The
there.
e-cop ticket, just push down on the computer, boom.
You could do from your window.
Larry,
Oh, yeah, I'll take that hat. I got rid of some hats. I'm not looking for more.
Mr. Sears, number 7.
Oh, yes. Since Bob, you started with the houses and we've been getting a lot of calls,
Yeah, I know.
there's been a couple of houses that I've looked into from complaints. There's one that has a permit for 8 years, one for a permit for 5 years. And basically, the property is horrible, it's not being worked on, the house is just being sit there with a dumpster. I called a couple of other administrators around the area to find out if they have some kind of construction permit and ordinances that say, you have 2 years to get this project built, and then we'll give you another year extension. But you need to have this type of house done. Now, so far, I've looked at 3 houses in the township, and they all fit this criteria. How long does a permit stay open that a contractor can do nothing for years? And then all the surrounding houses, they got their properties nice and maintained and clean, but yet these three homes are not being worked on. So I went downstairs to the building department and I asked them, do you have all the permits that passed a certain amount of time? She says yes, and then I was told, well, we don't have enough manpower to go out and look at them.
So is there,
We
what
pay
is
inspectors
the
a lot of money.
time that,
In this town.
is there, do we have an ordinance that says you?
Well, I don't know that. I was trying to.
I would think, I talked to John Ciala, and to find out from him, it might be under the Uniform Construction Code. Let me take a look I'll call him and find out what the deal is on,
I know, I've talked to another administrator in another town, and they have an ordinance that you have 2 years from the time your permit is issued to complete your home.
Yeah,
If you
most
come
towns do
into
that.
any type of problems, you can apply for
An
an
extension.
extension, but you have to pay a fee for it. They'll give you an extra year, and then that's it.
let me check with John Ciala.
When you say complete home, you're talking about any permits, any open permit. I'm doing plumbing, okay? you're gonna put
Well,
up-
these are these are homes that
Well,
are
are you
going-
saying, I mean, I'm looking at the construction permit. Are you
Right.
talking additions, you talking new homes, you talking?
A new home.
Improvements?
New
It
home,
has to be kind of specified.
what do you call those homes that you come in and you revamp them and sell them?
Flips.
Flips,
Okay,
you know?
so,
Those are the things that, the complaints.
Well, you also want to close out the permits because that's what triggers the added assessment.
Yes. And there's
And if they're
actually,
in there without it, they're violating, I believe did that recently come up where they have people occupying houses without COs? I know.
well,
I-
there is one of the houses that got a complaint on where the guy, or the person comes in maybe once a week and stays in the house, but when you look at the house, it looks nice in the front, but there's nothing inside or back.
But I think to Steve's point, Ken, while you're talking to John, I mean, what about all the other permits, plumbing and kitchens, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? How long do we just let them stay out before they get closed? Or, you know, finalized, approved, whatever it is?
well, you need, when you have to get it done by your sell date, because we have the CCO ordinance that we did a couple of years
Yeah.
back, right, Ken? So, obviously, we didn't have that in prior years. There was no CO for, since 1950 or whatever it was. So,
And would
There's
they,
one house that's been under construction for 7 years.
would they need to be harmonized with zoning? Because zoning, I think, aren't they a year?
Well, approvals are different. Approvals are one thing, permits are something different. Approvals are, yeah.
Could they be in conflict at some point?
I think once you have your permit, you're beyond the approval
Okay.
stage. So I think it's a permit issue. So let me
Okay.
talk to John and get back.
You'll let us know.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Tom, I
All
just
right.
have one other question on that, because you brought up two different things. Some of it sounds like code enforcement, that a lot of these houses, they're doing work, but they're letting the fronts deteriorate.
Right.
So again, is that something we can ask code enforcement to look at?
I've been sending it to Gary, and Gary has been really involved. in,
Okay, good.
that's
Getting-
really code enforcement.
Yeah,
Right.
and also, I know you said one person might be using it almost as a transfer station.
Yeah,
Is-
that's what the neighbors have told me.
Do we have any ordinance that says, like, if you have a dumpster on your property for 30 days?
No, I think we.
You have to at least wait.
We have an ordinance about dumpsters. I
Do we
think.
do? Okay.
Dumpster's been on
Is that-
property
is
for
that-
Where they
7
have to
years.
be-
Dumpsters, or even, if you remember, storage, as I recall, Steve, you may have been around, maybe not, storage facilities, when people.
Yeah, the pods we
The
were talking
pods.
about.
I
yeah,
think we have
pods,
an
yeah.
ordinance that deals with the.
I think they can only be
Where they
there
have to be
for
put and where-
18,
When that,
I
you
wanna
had
say
to come
18
back, and
months.
there was a provision for renewals if you wanted to
Yeah.
come back,
Yeah.
as I recall.
Yeah, there is something there. I'll look into it and see where it is.
But even a storage pod to me is different than a dumpster, because someone, to me, if you're doing work, have the dumpster there 30 days, and then you can't get another one for at least 30 days. Otherwise,
unbelievable.
like someone will set up a transfer station at his house almost.
Timeframes.
Well, I think that the issue is, yards that are unkept and unsightly. It's more of a
Right.
sightly thing
Right.
than anything else. I mean, if you're working on a house and, the outside's got all nice grass,
Okay,
it's
now-
beautiful, I don't care what the inside looks like,
Right,
no one
right.
cares. So you can have an open electrical mitten, wires
Who
hanging out
cares?
from the
Right.
ceiling. I don't
That's how
think
you
your
wanna
neighbor's gonna
live,
care.
right.
But, when it's unsightly to the neighborhood, then I think it's an issue.
Right.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right. We make a motion to enter into closed session.
Don't you
Oh,
have to
no.
do the ordinance?
Make, what?
Don't you have to do
Yeah,
that
you do the
ordinance?
ordinance.
The
Yeah, you should do
17-09.
The
we do it?
parking ordinance.
Oh, this is only on the emergency.
So Bob, just open up to one of the introductions you have, Bob, and just follow the wording, and you'll have the resolutions right in front of
Right.
you. Okay?
Let's do this. We're doing it this way.
And the new number is on it. I think it was 9, right?
Mhm.
Right, so just read,
You're gonna do.
1709?
Yeah,
Okay.
and this is yours.
and there's the words.
This is not first reading now, right?
Yes,
Yes.
this is
Oh,
the
it is?
first
Okay.
reading, yeah.
Introduction, first reading, ordinance 17-09. An ordinance revising certain time limiting parking within the Township of Washington.
Now go back to the other thing.
Motion to introduce and pass ordinance 1709 at first reading by title.
Motion?
Second.
Okay, Councilman Calamari.
Yes.
Councilman Casio.
Recuse.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Omen.
Yes.
Council President Bruno.
Yes.
Read the second part.
Okay. Which one?
The second- this is for
resolution.
publication, the one that reads for publication.
Resolution, yeah, but do I need a seventh?
You can need a number.
I'm gonna need another,
1709.
no, I need a resolution number.
Oh.
258.
258, so resolution number 17-258, authorizing publication of ordinance 17-09 and schedule a public hearing. Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Councilman Calamari.
Yes.
Councilman Casio.
Recuse.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Omen.
Yes.
Council President Bruno.
Yes.
I just want to remind you that this ordinance would require 230 signs if we put signs on everywhere we're supposed to put them for 2-hour parking. I'm just reminding you about the cost of the signs, because I'm in favor of this, but I also have to check, see where the money's coming from. And they all have to be installed.
That's what we have.
So it was a lot of work, but I'm in favor of this because we need it, but
That was like a happy, not happy type thing? I like it,
Well,
but
no, I
I
mean,
don't
you
like it.
know-
I like it, but I don't like it.
no, I like it,
All
but
right.
I just was telling you what else is involved in it. It's not just,
Okay.
you pass the ordinance, we have to do the work.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion to enter into closed session.
Motion.
Items?
Resolution 17-256, closed session, potential litigation, potential purchase of real property, personnel,
And throw a color on that.
and COA.
Good night.
Oh, really? Good night.
Good night.
It's early night for you.
Tom, you motioned second?
Yes.
Who's second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Councilman Calamari.
Yes.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Omen.
Yes.
Council President Bruno.
Yes.